is up, misfits, one and all, to tonight's episode of Call Us Skeptical. Does God exist? Hello? Hello?
Inviting all gods?
Calling all gods, inviting all
With
gods.
a real Yahweh, please stand up.
Stand up. We are opening up the internet phone lines. Call in now to help us understand why anyone would
screener
think.
Is ready.
That's right, baby. Gizmo is standing by.
He's standing by, ready to take your calls.
But we really want to know why anyone would think that a god, a deity, would exist. So won't you join James W. and myself, Amy Newman, for a divinely good time? Oh, my. Woohoo! That's right, everyone. I want to thank you all for joining us on the Intertubes.
Sir, this conversation is being recorded.
Yes, that's right. We are live, so we do want to forget.
It is recorded.
Or remind you, recorded, sir, that we are doing this live, folks, and don't forget to like. Oh my! Speaking of which, hello GoPro.
I thought that was the George Soros line, or the.
Yes, he is saying that the last stream almost had to shut us down, continuing to let us stream. So thank you, intergalactic space lizards. But no, I was going to wait, but oh my, that has updated. The GoPro footage is been uploaded into the cloudosphere, which means our new Skeptic on the Street is getting ready to premiere, ladies and gentlemen.
Our very own skeptic streetwalker, Amy Newman.
That's right, baby. I go around looking for Socratic gangbangs. You got to do what you... I know, Ryder. You got to... It's a little rough, isn't it?
I'm sure the police are ready to spring on you at any moment, and then they see you're just asking questions about religion this time. So
yes,
it's,
and I'm very lucky. I go to places that are very random people doing things. It has a very Portland vibe. This very avenue or two of where I do it, and so it's fantastic because. The cops are just munching there while someone's yelling, save Ukraine and something. And I could just tuck myself over there. Or there was a whole bunch of causes, actually.
It's like
Ukraine, Palestine.
A little bit of UC Berkeley everywhere.
Yes, a little bit.
Your own
and
little
it's fun.
pocket
And
of
so,
Berkeley University. Or Berserk.
It was great. Ooh, I just say, and I'm seeing this come up. Thank you so very much. Sending love to Scott Duke. That's right. Gotta love. We are doing a show, ladies and gentlemen, before midnight. Normally,
once in a while we do.
Yes, I will say that the sunlight tends to make us break out. Wait, is this? This is. Oh no, this actually is a premiere. But we're from the future. No, okay. Also, what is up? Just saying love to everyone out there. What is up, Rubik's Cubed, as well as Pookykins on the Twitchykins, as well as we're just reminding Scott Duke, thank you for all the love that we get, the super chats, as well as the channel memberships and Patreons. You guys are who make this channel possible, as well as our subscribers, our viewers, our followers. We have members now on Twitch.
We appreciate it.
Holy moly.
Members on Twitch, YouTube, Patreon.
That's right. We are out there, all the realms. In fact, like I was telling James, we're now on double. We got 2 scoops of Facebook. We're on the Twitters. We are on the Twitches, the YouTubes. I tried to put this on Pornhub the other day, and it just kept on getting rejected. But we're trying, folks. We're trying.
Keep trying, Amy. Keep trying.
Exactly.
Eventually, they'll get used to us.
Eventually, we got to go raunchier. But yes, do not forget to like, follow, or subscribe, because not only will you get premieres like the fantastic. I almost don't want to do the show to the screen. I always love when people do it. They're like, "Don't you see on my phone? Doesn't it look so amazing?" Oh. It's like, no, it doesn't. But we're going.
That reminds me of the time that Alex Jones did something just like that. He showed people's phone with
that's
the
right.
windows.
I do remember that.
And there was an adult video window in his internet browser open.
With specific category.
Yeah, a specific type of adult film star that he was watching.
And we are not hating because we're sending out.
Just come out, and if that's what he is into, he should just be honest about it.
Be open, be honest. 10 out of 10 dentists that have come on this channel who are anti-LGBTQ have found with a giant in their mouth or with a Grindr account. But besides that, it is going fantastic. But yes, you can join our live streams and we can say hi. Like, what is up, Blue? No, yeah, that's basically. But maybe we'll get a lot of opposition viewpoints today. What is up, computer? What is up, Caterpillar? I'm so used to Haley's name being Blue too. But welcome to Blue. Welcome Rubik's Cube, like we said. Welcome. Nick, what
Nick
is
Suter.
up?
Better have that jacket ready.
Sending
love.
Like
that picture, pull that back up for a second. That Nick's like thing, doesn't it kind of look like he's got like a priest thing on, like that white box under, like he's wearing a Catholic priest? Like
yes,
yeah.
Can't tell. I think it's because the chin or thing, but yes, because of how it does, it looks like he's got a collar on.
He's became a Catholic priest. Yeah.
He took.
Maybe a Lutheran priest. I would put him in that category.
What is up, Alexander the Ape? What is up, X Music? What is up, everyone? What's up to Freak? Thank you so very much.
Thanks,
Send love also to AJ. That's right. Because not only
the Reverend Dr. Suter.
The Reverend Doctor?
Yeah, the most Reverend.
We have the news for you in time, on time.
Is it BC? Well,
that's right.
You don't want to put the wrong sock on your foot in Beamsy's house. That's just.
Yes, and you always have to, I feel like, clean a good old sock to. You don't want that to crinkle. Anyway, we are sending love. In fact, the two schmucks we send before you are sending a crusty old love. Crusty, hey. Because we are two skeptics, admittedly, call me skeptical. Skeptics Anonymous. Well, I always like they have on the one, I don't know if it's politics or religion or wherever, they have the theist helpline or atheist helpline. Come one atheist, we'll convert you to theist. And I'm excited. I will say I was on Randolph Richardson's stream tonight. Well, I guess. Depending on what your day and nights are, because I'm a bit of a vampire.
Was today the Fortnite stream?
The Fortnite.
How was it?
It was another fantastic stream. Like I tell Randolph, Moonlight wants to say hi. In that we always feel like this is going to be the week that we get convinced that a God exists. I feel like tonight is the night that we're going to.
Any day now.
We're going to get that good slab of evidence, and that the world will believe in their one specific denomination. Cats.
Pastafarianism.
Pastafarianism. That's right.
I mean,
the one true God.
we can be pretty certain that pasta is a real thing. So right off the bat, it's got something over
James,
most of the other religions.
Already, we're working with something in the natural realm.
I mean, Ken Hovind thinks it's a joke, but actually, life coming from rocks is a lot more plausible than life coming from a deity that doesn't even exist.
See?
So, I mean,
you're channeling my opening statement already. Yes, they love the.
I'll go with
it's
the rocks.
Grandpa. It's rock soup over there.
As stupid as that is, it's still better than his proposal.
Well, what they have to do is term amazing things into something stupid.
He works hard behind the scenes.
Thank you so very much, Pookykins.
Thank you, Pookie.
The Twitch stream Osphere is growing. I've been very happy. It's so funny how every time we open up something new, you have like basically the new experience of like opening up a store or a shop. Like you put your little thing there, and for a while there's no one. Every once in a while there's just one or two people, and then it just kind of slowly but surely you keep on.
You know, the one customer walks in, you kind of pounce on them because hey, we haven't seen anybody all day, and now you just walked in.
Hey, let me tell you, that doesn't matter. We are sending love, woo, to Rubix, who is reminding us that the kitties are truly the ones are in control of here and the internet.
They're
it's true.
Ahead of us on the evolutionary curve.
Though they don't really like it that we compare ourselves to other animals at all.
What do they like?
Yeah, not much. Not much. I'll tell you what I love about Random Stream. I like the number. I was going to say the number one, but it's about a third of the theists complain that we're even asking. And to me, I actually like that. Because the moment because that's just them giving up. At that moment, if you're coming in a stream about why to convince an atheist to believe in a god, and your answer is really not fair.
Well, so tough. Maybe we do it because we know that you're not going to be able to do it. So just by having that question hang out there, kind of sends a message out there that nobody can give a good answer. Nobody can give a good reason to believe in a god.
You would think if they'd have good evidence, they'd present.
If there was a good reason for it, we would know about it by now. I mean, logically speaking, we're still waiting. We're willing to evaluate any new evidence, but you would think if it was out there, we would have seen it by now. But you never know. Maybe today will be the day.
Today will be the day. In fact, like I was saying, we are a skeptic channel, including the two schmucks that you see before you. However, Call Me Skeptical is specifically looking for views that don't agree with our own. So if you fit the bill, then the link to join the show will soon be heading into chat and on screen. We also love people who do agree with us. So atheists, skeptics, and science-minded people, feel free to call. Though, if you think the world is 6,000 years old, that evolution is a hoax, or that the
I'm not even going to put it on screen anymore. We got a live one there.
Well, then, OG Willigers, you should call us right away.
Why do we keep attracting them? Why do we keep attracting them? I don't get it.
The Godwin's law away.
Yeah.
Well, James, I'm not gonna like put any sort of correlation, but like that guy who asked that question, he has one of those lowercase t's that they put on people's lawns even when it's not Halloween. It's like weird. I forget what they mean. I don't know if they're like, this is how you hang like a poster on these tees or something, but they're like cookouts or something because they make sure they're lit so everyone can see them.
A deity stand? Like you just like
a deity stand.
There you go. express your deity on it when he's tired.
Exactly. Well, I've always said if there's one thing that Jesus has promoted, it's how awesome the bad 9 Inch Nails is. But with that, and before we begin, in fact, I keep on saying, like, I almost want to give it in now. Like, we're about to give the shout out, but you know what? While we're about to give a shout out for our supporters, we're actually going to send that link in the chat right now. Now, if we know that you agree with us, we may like keep on doing our intro. But if you don't agree with us, well, we're probably gonna
we'll get to you.
We'll fast track you.
Yeah.
Trying to think what
this show we do give
Amazons
priority
call
to
it.
those who don't agree with us.
And we are going to, I'm going to be saying this, and we're going to be giving a reminder throughout the next few months, but we're doing updates to our Patreons as they grow and change, and we're doing so much love. We are going to be doing what we try to do, our fun shout-outs to all of our Patreons. We're going to keep on doing amazing, fun prop shout-outs for all the people who have sent us lots of love. And then we also, not only is the only way for you to get your name in the description by going down below and becoming a channel member, you can hit that button and join and get our evolving badge system that will also get your name in the description below. But if you're a Patreon exclusive is that we also want to send out a shout out to the ones who are really sending out support to us, and so sending love right out there as we want to send love back to you. But we already have Rubik's and P-Town backstage, so we're going to get them queued up. And I just want to send a shout out to our awesome supporters who you can find at patreon.com/Amy Newman, like Oz from the Atheist Network Group. Boom, boom, boom. The entire Tang Gang. Agrapio Cuss. Woo! Diana Smith.
Thanks, Diana.
Pat Lowinger. Yeah. Dale Pastel.
Thank you, Dale.
Looking for empirical evidence. Dave Gar. Woo! Because the earth looks a little bit thick. Scott Duke reminding you the animals, we're all kind of them, not like separated from. Regos, we got a skeptic Bible study, sending so much love, Regos. The amazing, the fabulous, and sweet Rachel Holland.
Rachel.
Sending so much love to Senator Cato, the separation of church and state. Woohoo! James Wolfe, because we do so many fantastic late night podcasts. And then we also have Ian Davenport. Reminding us that creationist talking points like your heart is a watch and that all things are a watch are kind of a little bit silly.
Pretty dumb.
But, you know, they always try to quote people like Aquinas, who tries to do the hits from Aristotle, but
classic Greek philosophy.
Even then, they always have to stop talking about miracles. And then last but not least, we're sending love to Matty! Woo-hoo! Reminding everyone out there that the universe, the world, the planet, well, it just seems like it wasn't created. It seems like it formed by natural processes. Yeah. So thank you so very much, Matty. All of our supporters, our Patreons, channel members, super chatters, but all of our just subscribers, followers,
thanks, guys.
Grandma out there. And we have, I believe, Rubik's may agree with us, and P-Town will differ. But so before we put them up to dock, and Rubik's good, and that's good, Rubik, because we're going to probably do P-Town first because we give priority to the people we differ from the most. But before we give the opposition viewpoint,
You do?
Oh my, the hot seat. And let me actually take a sip. Yes. Does God exist? No. And by God, I mean a being who is the creator of the universe, let alone having any other attributes like the three omnis, or a personal relationship guy who cares what I put up my butt. But then, Amy, who do you think made the universe? Ah, well then, and therein lies the sneaky little word games, which some people may do without even realizing that they're doing so, because they're priest, pastor, rabbi, imam, or guru push this type of poisoning of the well. The question isn't who made the universe, but why, or even better, how did the universe form? And while we normally get insults that play to this type of language playbook, like our grandparents were rock soup, or our uncles were monkeys, while we're just fizzing chemicals. When the truth is, we are indeed carbon-based life forms of the great ape variety who uses our minds to solve problems. So when we come across the question, does God exist? Well, currently, all of the good evidence out there says no. That doesn't mean we've checked under every rock or crevasse, but it does mean that we should not be giving anthropomorphic traits to natural phenomena. Whether that's lightning with Thor or Yahweh with universes. The only creators we know of are this small branch of life we call derpy, herpy animals. Thank you. And all right, before we go into some other viewpoints, James W., we need to know, because we're calling me skeptical, does God exist? Oh, you're...
Yeah. Isn't that like the fundamental question of why we do this broadcast, this show to begin with, is we're trying to talk about, does a God exist? We're trying to explore the possibilities, explore the arguments. I think me and Amy, we've came to a particular conclusion on that after a long time of looking at our arguments, looking at the reason, logic, and evidence, and we came to the conclusion that we don't think so, or we don't have at least any good reason to believe that there is a God. Most of us have these ideas, me and Amy, presented to us when we're small children, from the family and the culture that you're born into. And in America, that's predominantly Christianity, but there are some other faiths in the United States of America. And we have one of the cornerstones of the United States is freedom of religion, and I would never want to take that away from anybody. I would never want to force anybody to deconvert. That's not at all what we're advocating, and we do believe in freedom of thought, freedom of conscience. If you really believe it, then you're free to keep doing it. All we're doing is just telling you why we don't. You know, there are churches in virtually every city, town across America, all the time on a weekly basis, giving you reasons why you should believe. There are plenty of preachers, apologists all over YouTube telling you why they think you should believe. And on the other side, we are just a small fraction pushing back against that. But be that as it may, it's what we're doing, and we do it because we believe in it, because we believe it's true. So is there a God? Well, you know, we have these ideas presented to us when we're children, when we know the least about the world, when we really don't know virtually anything except what we're told by our parents and by the people that we trust, teachers, and go to church, your Sunday school teachers, pastors, youth leaders, and you know, these ideas, they continue to be reinforced. That's why you keep going. You don't just go to church one time. You got to keep going back, because these ideas have to be reinforced on a fairly regular basis. Or you might stop believing in them. Problems tend to come along around, you know, once you start getting a little bit further in school, when you start getting into some of the harder sciences, where you start to see some conflicts with what we know about the natural world and a literal conservative interpretation of the Bible, the Torah, doesn't seem to coincide with what we see in the natural world. Okay, there are people who say, oh no, it really does. Ignore the science, or the science is all wrong. It really does coincide with reality. And there are people who say, well, it doesn't matter, because it can all be metaphor anyway, and God can still be real. And I don't think either one of those are really satisfactory to me. I know I pretty quickly had to concede that the literal interpretation of the Bible is obviously not true. It obviously doesn't comport with the reality that we see. So I wasn't ready to give up on the religion, so I adopted a much more liberal, much more metaphorical, much more congruent with science and what we see in nature version of Christianity. And that does good for a while. That does okay for a while. It's only when you start to examine the inherent problems in Christianity itself, in all religions itself, that are not connected to science or anything. It's not connected to any of that. It just falls on its own. It doesn't make sense on its own. And that's the problem with a lot of these. We watch a lot of these channels, a lot of these arguments where they begin with just these vague philosophical narratives, these vague axioms to try to get you to accept the proposition that there could be a God, or even more, what they usually try to do is push you to a point where you say there must be a God, there has to be a God. And we've seen that, we've gone over that many times, that tactic that they do. The problem with that is that every time when you start to look at any of these proposed gods, any of these proposed religions, none of them work. They all are riddled with problems. They're all quite obviously man-made, usually by ancient man. Everything that we see in them corresponds with what ancient man would have said at the time. And you have to ask yourself, why did ancient man get a personalized narrative from God, but we don't get anything like that? We've heard the apologetic before that, oh, well, I mean, the Bible, that was written for ancient man. You couldn't write things in it that would seem crazy to them. They would have rejected it. Well, okay, but then why don't we get a narrative that makes sense to us? No, you have to accept the old one, even though it doesn't make sense. Because at least in terms of the Christian God, what you can say most about him is he gives no fucks. He doesn't care. He does not care. He does things the way he wants to do them, and whatever happens, he does not care. If he does exist, which is almost certainly that he does not, the only thing going for him that says he's good is that he tells you he's good over and over and over again. Literally, virtually nothing he does actually turns out to be good. Even when he does something that appears to be good, once you scratch a little bit under the surface, it's bad. And you run into similar things like that with virtually any of these deities that we've had proposed to us. None of them really make sense on their own, regardless of the science. None of them are consistent with the science, but even beyond that, they're not logical. They're not plausible. They're certainly not probable. So yeah, let's get the callers on.
And all right, we are about to get P-Town on here.
Let's get the callers.
I do want to just send one more shout out. Well, first of all, but also to Pookykins saying you should consider getting alerts so you don't miss any. I feel like that is definitely. I am learning the Twitchosphere. And I do want to send one more love, not only to Pookykins, but Rubik's one more time for becoming a member. Thank you so very, very much. We support all of our supporters here, and so thank both of you. And yeah, like James says, we are about to go into the opposition, and very eventually we have people who I think agree with us. Ooh, speaking of people who agree with us, answers in atheism. What is up?
Pixie's got it. Yeah. Talk to Bubbles about that.
But not the gnomes. Yeah, I was gonna say. But we're gonna have
Grim Reaper comes to collect your
We're
soul.
bringing in a theist. We are calling me skeptical, and we are asking, does God exist? And we got P-Town to find out.
Hey, P-Town. Good
What
to see
is
you
up,
again.
P-Town?
Hey,
How
guys.
are you?
I'm doing well. How are you? Good to see you, James, Amy.
Good to have you back on. What's going on today?
Good to see you. I saw you there this morning, P-Town.
Yeah,
was he
I
participating
missed
this
you,
morning?
Amy.
I did. Well, can I tell you
I
the funny
think
thing?
you were busy in like a side chat, huh, about your gender or something.
Here's what happens. Because the panel has become larger, we have kind of agreed all as a group that we want whoever is asking some of the initial questions to kind of stick with them, so it doesn't feel like people are going down a million different avenues. And so when it's someone else's turn, I will have to admit I can't help myself. I see spiciness in the conversation, and just like our lovely people in chat with us right now, I cannot help myself. And so yeah, I mean it is almost always like I have to get through the wave of "Do you know you're a tranny?" And it's like, okay, but this is like, you see the theism, like the "what is a god" thing at the title, right?
It's like Amy's sleeping in her bed, and you put like a pound of bacon in a pan and start cooking it, and it won't take long before she's in that kitchen saying, "What's going on?"
Listen, I have years and years to make up on.
Someone cooking bacon?
Did you hear the chat at least, or go back and listen to it? Or did you miss it?
Or do you mean hear your conversation? Because I was hearing passively your conversation.
Right.
I have good and bad news for you. The good news is I do not think that you're a troll. I think that you're an honest interlocutor, and that you are coming into this, trying to be open-minded. I would say I disagreed with many of your points. I understood what they were kind of saying, how I think that it often comes to, in my view, a puddle analogy, which is the puddle analogy comes from a science fiction author who would always say, who hypothesized this puddle that came to life, and the puddle looked around and it said, "Oh my God, this puddle, it is exactly formed just like me. In fact, if I
this container that I'm in.
If this container was just a little bit, deeper or just a little bit, lighter, I would have evaporated, or there would have been too much. Yeah, I wouldn't have fit. And so I think in the same way you can find eclipses. Like, I understood what you were saying. I think they were teasing you a little because you were saying how you were using the phrase "look at the sun." But I think I understood what you meant when you were saying your thing was this is the one moment where it may actually be okay, quote unquote, to do so.
He's not saying anything that would have.
Well, no. Well, if you look,
came across as crazy to me when I was a Christian. So
James, did you did you catch that stream?
I didn't catch it today. I usually work in the morning on Sunday, but you've had like a 5-hour conversation with us off stream, and you remain pretty consistent in that. So if you are a troll, you're pretty.
But I do have to say,
my daughter. Oh, sorry.
Oh no, go say something sweet before we say something.
Amy knows because I messaged her, but my daughter's going to be a troll for Halloween.
Oh boy,
a pink one.
Aww.
Yeah, I literally just learned what a troll is. I think 2 days ago. I had to look it up. Yeah, I'm not trying to make people mad.
No,
and look, I have no interest in here except for you guys. I want you guys to see the truth.
Is in their defense, before we go further, Rubrix was saying it right over here. I'm trying to find it again, but you are a young Earth flat earther, right?
Not a flat earther. We have to definitely take that away.
You're not a flat earther.
Of course not. Yeah.
You're a young Earth creationist.
I am a Bible believing, deep fried chicken eating Christian man. Yeah, I did a little. My spin-off's not very good.
Well, I guess.
But former atheist. I think your audience should know that.
Yes, and we sometimes, and maybe you were, we always like to put the caveat, can I ask, do you think while you were an atheist, you were a skeptic, or do you think you were being an atheist for skeptical reasons?
Of course. I'm always skeptical.
Well, okay. I mean, I like that answer, I guess. So is there something we might have went over, but I guess we'll jump right in with, does God exist? I mean, if it was good enough for you to convince you, there had to be something good enough for us, right? What convinced you?
Yeah.
I guess I'm getting kind of called out. Okay. Well, I don't want. Can I stem from that conversation from earlier today? Or would you like something else?
You can stem for it as long as you do cliff notes for any viewers who didn't see it. But we could keep on. I do want to keep on sending out love to our brother from another mother, Randolph Richardson, right down there, who you should be.
I also want to send some love too. I see James Wolfe's in there. I really enjoyed him last time.
James Wolfe is an amazing human being.
I did. I really liked him popping on the channel, and also Beamsy. I mean, he's a geologist. I didn't get a chance with Mr. Reid, and I were kind of going at it, but he's a geologist. I think it's really cool that he went to Antarctica. I know I kind of, shunned it off, his evidence for
the ice core,
the Bible not existing because of the layers, but I do think it's really cool that he went to Antarctica, and I think it's cool that he's a geologist.
Well, I mean, it's just because you've quoted like a lot of in your, and I know you've said you're a fan of him before, but you have quoted a lot of the lines that Ken Hovind uses to justify the age of a young Earth. Have you looked into some of the scientific refutations of Ken Hovind's arguments that he makes, even some from other young Earth creationists who say, yeah, no, that's not a good argument. You shouldn't use that. And keeps using because
that's a great question. Wrong. James, that's a great question. I have. And then I get really frustrated because so far I have to filter through the really bad refutations. Like that I don't know, are just what is it called? Setting up straw mans or not representing Kent properly in his arguments. Because I always want to see what's the truth in any matter. I would love to see any refutations. You can send them to me.
Have you seen the one that Logic did? It's kind of the most popular one. Hello, my name is Ken Hovind. Did it about maybe 10 years ago.
Logic. Oh, I don't think so. I'll have to look that up. I'll write that down though. The guy's name's Logic. Okay.
Logicked. It's kind of like the classic Ken Hovind.
And
he goes through his entire seminar.
CK?
Logicked.
And then P-Town?
Yeah.
He wears like a black thing over his face.
Yeah, Amy?
Can I ask, did you go from atheist to born again? Was this like a overnight? Was this a gradual thing?
No, definitely not. I'm not one of those guys to say, oh, I was saved on this minute, on this hour. There is a particular moment when I was studying my Bible, which I personally hold fast to, where I think it really was the point where I was already a Christian. I was already baptized, actually. But there was a point when I was reading my Bible and I realized, oh, okay, now I get it. This is divine. But I kind of keep that personally because it's kind of, it is a particular verse, and if I shared it with the audience, no one would know.
I would also say by then you're way down the line. Because what's funny is you're like, the moment you were ready to talk about, you're like, I was already a Christian, and I wasn't expecting you to say that. I was expecting you to be like, well, I guess it was this one thing that hit me off. What made you a Christian then?
Well, I kind of had to take a leap of faith, to be honest with you. I think one of the after-hour discussions, you and I were talking. I think the three of us and another person, but my now wife, I met her and she was able to answer some of my questions.
Oh, I remember this.
Right, because I was an atheist, guys. Vocal. I'm pretty aggressive.
Can I?
Yeah.
Once again, just help me dispel the notion away that you didn't become a Christian for your wife.
Ooh, that's a great question, Amy. No, it was so challenging for her. I challenged her tooth and nail. We have journals, actually, because she broke up with me and I could only write her letters. I moved to Texas for a little while when she told me that she was too busy going to law school. And so then we only wrote letters back and forth, super old school. And then we started talking on the phone again. And I challenged her every bit of the way, and was always honest about my true beliefs. And it took many years. Yeah.
So she was debating you. Basically, you guys were debating each other. Can you tell me some of the arguments she was saying that maybe won you over, that eventually you kind of had to bow to because of their logic or historicity or
even some of the arguments you were making to her that
Sure, I mean, that would be a very long stream.
Well, let me tell you, you are, as the theist right now, you are the headliner. We'd love to make you not the headliner by becoming an atheist, but we're working.
Well, you guys just kick me backstage if you can't put up with me, okay? Well, let me think back. I was a senior year, and I was a senior in college, and some of them are political because, if you want to talk about global warming, gay rights. Sorry, can I say gay rights? I don't know the formal vernacular.
You can
is
say,
that okay?
As long as you don't break the TOS.
I don't know what that is either.
The terms of service. As long as you do not say something that will get us banned, you can say whatever you want.
Or that's
so I don't think that's me.
Well, there you go. And I always say that doesn't mean that we promote that people should be a-holes. It's just that we don't want people to think that they're being censored, so that when they give us their best, that we're missing something.
Back to my point, to summarize it, you can watch the news, and I can't stand Christians. Even now, I can't stand a lot of Christians, the way that they perpetuate what it means to be a Bible-believing Christian in the wrong way.
I
Pretty
appreciate
clear,
that.
and throughout
Well,
history.
But
So,
I do have to. I gotta press you back on it.
okay.
So you were an atheist. Your wife is a Christian. You're having debates. I think we're at least we're like narrowing. We're going back to the linchpin here. So, what are some of the things? Is there anything that you remember that convinced you one way or the other, or you thought is still intriguing?
You know, actually, maybe, and this isn't me, but one of the last parts of the journal she wrote me, because she was expressing how it was
Journal
so
she
hard
wrote?
for her
Good movie.
to be in a relationship with me, because it was hurting her spiritually. This is something I'm still as spiritual as a rock. Okay, it's just not me. I'm not a mystical person, but
The Rock Johnson?
she is more in tune with whatever that is, right? The Spirit of God, the Holy Spirit. And the more she engaged with me, she felt like she was losing connection in some way. That's something I've never, even now, I still don't fully understand.
how'd that
But
make
can
you
I
feel?
tell you what
Yeah.
that sounds like to us? And maybe you took that as, oh my God. See, I read that as, oh man, you may be making some good arguments, and that's challenging her faith. And so she is now having a reaction or taking a step back.
Well, I agree with you. I'm still gonna challenge her. That's my mentality, right? So,
How did it make you feel when she said that to you? Did you feel
we went on a
obviously
break where
someone you care about?
we didn't talk for a little while, and then we started talking again, and we're talking like a week. We'll take a week break, and then we'll go back at it again. It's kind of like going into the ring together, and then you take timeouts, and we still loved each other. So,
But see, I still want to know.
so yeah, I was gonna say, I wish again, I just moved into my new place. I don't have it, but I actually have the journal that she wrote. And towards the end of it, it was, Patrick, I know that you want all of the reason. You want logic, and you want this and that. You want explanations, and you want answers to all of your objections. But at some point, you got to know that I'm reason and logic can't get you all the way there. And I think God made that. And even if it could, I think you'd be missing out. That was it. Even if you could, I think you'd be missing something like that. Gosh, where's that journal? I wasn't prepared for this, Amy, but if there's one thing that I can say stood out the most, it was that at that particular point in my life. Now, after I know a lot more about the Bible many years later, I hold fast to that. But I did kind of hold on to, maybe she has something here.
Okay, but let's think about that for a second.
Sure.
Because basically you're saying the first cog to fall was that this all can't be on the base of reason and logic.
Well, she was saying
like Ralph,
that she was saying that even if it could be, even if I could do that, I think that in you would be missing out on the aspects on other aspects. I'm sorry, I'm trying to actually look for this journal.
No,
She's much better at presenting herself than me.
Well,
so,
and I appreciate that only someone can give their own lived experience, but see, I want to really nail down why it is that you believe, because at least now we're getting closer. I feel like that's the closest we got. That seems to be like the first domino. Was this not like you going, it has to be something beyond just reason and evidence or reason and logic.
Right, because when I was coming as an atheist, you feel like you're so distant from what a true Christian believes, and just like you can't even conceive of this being possibly true. to the extent that you would need it to be.
It is a very weird claim to me. I have to pull this card at least once a podcast, and which is like, because I didn't come from a Christian background. Oh no, yeah. Because it's just that Christianity is just so odd to me, and I don't think that many people in Western society always appreciate how odd the yeah, kitty. That, like, just that the notion of God having a son and it being this man who goes about preaching, but then he gets murdered, and then through his murder, it actually undoes all of these sins and crimes that people have done, but then he disappears into heaven.
But then you get, to the aspect of, it's so crazy, it's got to be true, right? Who would make up something that's off the wall? Like, who would come up with that?
And yeah, I normally get, like, once you're in it, you get it. But that always sounds like cult language to me. Like, once you take the leap. But it's just like, I don't get the connection. I wanted to bring up someone, I forget who was talking about it today, but like, what if we found out there is a supernatural power to resurrect people from the dead, and we learn that it was only evil people that could do it, and therefore we knew factually that Satan resurrected Jesus from the dead? Would that change your mind on Christianity, P-Town?
It's surprising how many silly questions like this I've been asked lately.
You say like, that's still silly. I guess
these possible scenarios that contradict.
But why is that
what impossible? I believe according to the Bible?
Okay, I shouldn't even.
So I don't mean to shun you in any way. I'm just saying that.
But see,
if I was smart enough, I can give you examples.
Why though? You get that reaction to me. Like, we talk about a man being resurrected from the dead, and I'm like, well, what if that power could only be done by evil? And you're like, now you're just being silly. And it's like, that was the bar that made it silly. Do you see how that, for me? I apologize.
Well,
you go ahead and answer that, Peter.
I haven't studied Revelation like I should, but isn't there a part in there where people are resurrected from the dead in some way, shape, or form?
Oh yeah, there's a resurrection.
Right. So in a way, you're
the living and the dead.
Correct. So
will give up
the dead. In a way, your question contradicts what I might believe according to the Bible. Sure, so it's a tough question for me to answer when the question doesn't make sense. Hopefully that's all right.
Well, no, it doesn't shock me because your God, in my opinion, tell me if I'm strawmanning you, your God necessitates that he does good things. And so that can't be because God is good.
Because he just defines himself that way.
But
I missed.
Oh no, I was just trying to. The point is that the same reason why you can't fathom it, I can't accept. Like your premise, like you're like it's just that can't be, because that to my core, God can't do that because God would be doing something evil. But to an atheist, it's not even like, to us, God could be good or evil. In between all the above, we don't know. And so the fact that it is like to your core being that God is good is just not in our epistemological talk. Maybe it used to.
I would even add to that, and then we'll let you respond that
more.
Just because a God is saying something doesn't mean it's objectively good. He has. Even if he exists, he has his opinions about morality. We have ours. The only difference between the two is he's in a position to enforce his. We're not. But that still doesn't make it objective. He can still be wrong and still have the power to punish people who disagree with him.
When I might kind of agree with you in a way. When I read the Bible, and I feel weird just going out on the limb because it might contradict most Christians, but I think it's pretty clear that God in some way ordained some things that we would define as being bad. I mean, he baptized the earth in water and killed maybe billions of people. There's a lot of things in there where there's judgment. You know, here in one of your Bible studies, they're too late for me, but I wanted one thing that you missed while you guys were ranting back and forth was that God actually feels. That's interesting to me. He's jealous. He gets mad.
Has rage.
Right.
Normally, we don't associate that as
with God. As atheists, you don't
positive
think
thing. Even though I guess it in a way it's neither positive nor negative. It's just the connotations usually tend to go towards the negative.
And he also, I think, there's been a PR campaign. I mean, the Christians, their claim to fame of the Bible is the gospel, and so they kind of just quickly kind of pick out what they want from their cafeteria.
Well, how would you define the gospel, Amy?
The gospel? Oh, well, I just mean the New Testament. Jesus, you know, Paul, the apostles, that type of stuff. Because I just separate out the Old Testament or the Torah, which see, I used to, now I know that James. I'm an ex-Jew, and James is like an ex-Jew and an ex-Christian at the same time. So, like.
I think a lot of time we hear like the apologetic that God had to do some of those really naughty, mean things in the Old Testament because he had to keep everything set up so there could be the Messiah. So he had to have all those things engineered so that Jesus could come, and then as soon as Jesus came and the redemption happened, then he didn't have to do all those things anymore because he already won, and Christ conquered death. He liberated the captives. He went to hell, and he did all these wonderful things, and now he's going to come back any minute now.
Well, I think I just want to ask you some more questions, but it's yours.
Okay, so that was what really it was the sciencey stuff, and I can give you an example if we have time. But it was the gospel is defined to me according to the word. It's something that Jesus did because of what the scriptures foretold. That's the definition of the gospel. I'm trying to, where is that in the Bible? It's been a while since I've opened it up.
So,
but we have a more sure word of prophecy, and even now it's not my. What's that?
I was just it's clear that the people who wrote the New Testament, they were aware of what the Old Testament said, and a lot of times they did try to weave a narrative that was consistent with that. I guess you could call it prophecy if you think that it really happened, but
right. So
I think we would say it's just they
you both. I think I can't speak for Amy, but you guys hold fast that Jesus maybe never existed, or that it was mostly just written by men to match it.
I think he probably never existed. I think Amy is on the fence.
But let's say that you're an atheist that does think that the New Testament is legitimate in some way, like it is history.
And that's my difference. I'll tell you what my main beef is. It's not that there was a Jesus guy, because the fact that there may have been a first century rabbi, near and dear in Judah, does not surprise me, a religious leader. What I will continue to fight against is the supernatural claims, because this is how it normally goes, and it doesn't matter what religion it is. They go, well, if you accept that our God can do anything, why can't he do X, Y, Z? And it's like, well, sure, if we can grant he can do, or she or they, because it always ends up being their specific one, then I guess we can. However, they never want to present, or rarely do we get like really good evidence for their specific God. What happens is you start to get more deistic. You get the Kalam cosmological argument and all of these sorts of other appeals.
Amy, are you able to?
Sure.
So can we stem off of one of the subjects that from last time I called in?
Sure, and then I'm gonna go back. I have something, but I'll remember it. Keep on going.
I've got a couple written down.
Yeah, sounds good.
We'll
What's
be
on
So-
your mind, P-Town?
So do you remember the tree rings where it was brought up that's proof for an old Earth, and I said I think it's more in line with a young Earth. Remember that topic last time?
I
think it
can
was
definitely remember that type of talking point.
Okay.
So
I mentioned that there was a particular part in the Bible, and this is not proof, but I think it's worthy of study. If you pull up Job 14, find it. And I use the King James.
okay, you said Job what?
14. And we were talking about the flood and tree rings and young Earth, and I was getting tagged. I was getting beat up like I normally do.
By the kittens.
If you pull it up, so Job 14:7. Do you guys have it up?
You try to go mild on you. We're not trying to beat you up too bad.
You guys are great.
Give me 1 second. Let me
Go look at that though. I had a rough morning, James.
Oh, on
fun.
the stream were they rough on you?
Well, we couldn't get. I don't want to mention it because we'll go off topic here.
Do this. My office chair.
Is that in P-Town? What verse?
7.
Turn from him and do umbop. Then he may rest till he shall accomplish as an hireling his day.
So for there is hope of a tree, if it be cut down, that it'll sprout again, and that the tender branch thereof will not cease. Though the root thereof wax old in the earth, and the stalk thereof die in the ground, yet through the scent of water it will bud, and bring forth boughs like a plant. And then it says, but man dieth and wasteth away, yea, man giveth up the ghost, and where is he? Remember, I think a couple times now I mentioned how there's a lot of metaphors, but the more literal I look into something, because here metaphorically it's comparing the life of a tree to the life of a man. A tree can die and sprout again, but if a man drowns, he's gone. But if a tree drowns, it can come back.
I wouldn't say
right?
Metaphorically. I think it would just be.
I also feel like this is a
here,
counter to
here's what I see as a former atheist. If someone looks at things as science, I want to ignore that metaphorical aspect of it. But when I look at this, if you consider the bristlecone pine and how it's notably the oldest tree in the world, and you look and you go, so for there's a hope for a tree, if it be cut down, that it'll sprout again, and that the tender herb thereof will not cease. Okay, so the root thereof waxed in the earth, and the stalk thereof die in the ground. So if you look at the bristlecone pine, it actually grows on its own dead stump. Okay, and then, but here's another connection. Yet through the scent of water it will bud. The scent from the air. From the air is where the bristlecone pine gets its water, not from the ground, from the air. Keyword scent. Okay, and it's just this, and it brings forth boughs like a plant. There's just a little connection here to the oldest tree, according to science, and there's enough patterns here for me to consider that it's talking about that. But when you put, it's not totally significant, but when you put 100 of these together, it becomes magical, and that's the Bible to me.
But can I just ask, and forgive me, I really was trying, what is the thesis of this point? Like, what are you trying to say this means?
What is it about the pine trees?
Well,
if they get their water from the air, is that the
there's a couple patterns. One of them is because it gets its water from the air, and because of also the way it grows. Because you have to go, you can Wikipedia the bristlecone pine, and you can look at it. It grows just like the Bible describes this particular tree growing. And also it gets its water from the air, like what it says here in this verse. and it happens to be the oldest tree that we can calculate it to be. And that's related to also and it also mentions a flood, right? The point, it's not super significant, but it's worth mentioning.
You would concede, though, that those are pretty vague references that right there, right? It's not like...
Correct.
All right, Amy, can you go to Genesis chapter 30? Down to... Go down
James,
to, I think, 32.
I agree with you, James, and there's more patterns here. I didn't break it down a whole lot, but it gets rather specific. Even though it's vague, it's also specific.
Okay.
And there's also a lot of these examples.
We have a very specific passage here.
Okay.
And I would love to for you to tell me what this means in accordance with young Earth creationism. Where is it? You have the sticks, Amy.
We got Jacob's speckled spotted cattle caper. We're looking for sticks. We got rods.
Yeah, keep going down. Rods, yeah, there. 37. Jacob took him rods of green polar and of them hazel and chestnut, and piled white stakes in them, and made the white appear, which was in the rods, and he set the rods up where he piled before the flocks gutters in the watering troughs where the flocks came to drink, that they could conceive where they came to drink. And the flocks that conceived before the rods brought forth ring-staked, speckled, and spotted cattle. I mean, that pretty much, that is not vague. It's telling you exactly how to affect the genetics of your cattle. It's putting sticks up where they copulate.
Oh my.
Obviously, Ken Hovind has spent a lot of time examining this verse.
I'm pretty sure that's what he did his thesis on. I think.
But
yes, if you want P-Town, you can make a comment on it more. But
you don't have to have an answer to it. I just want.
Here, let me. I can't see it. Let me write down. What are the passages?
Genesis 30. I mean, it really starts at like 30, 32. But if you want the meat and potatoes, gets to Genesis 37.
The animal chapter.
What chapter?
30. Genesis 30.
Real quick. So, what's your point with that? What is he doing?
Well, my point is that you're talking about these things that you come across in the Bible that are kind of vague and nebulous, and you ascribe great meaning to it. But then yet when we go through the Bible, we come across these things that just smack us in the head as being blatantly contradictory to the natural world. Blatantly.
What is this one saying?
True. It's saying you can affect the genetics, the patterns that are going to be born on the cattle by putting up sticks in front of where the cattle copulate, where they conceive their babies.
Basically science.
And that's not how it happens. It's a genetic thing that happens when the sperm and the egg of the goat combine. It has nothing to do with the scenery around where they're mating. But to ancient man, this might have made perfect sense. It might have made sense to them. But certainly doesn't make sense to us today.
I don't really have a comment because I don't know what they were.
Yeah. I'm just giving you an example of what some of the things that we look at when we look at the Bible. We have to decide, is this a book from a all-powerful, all-knowing deity, or does this look more consistent with the vain babblings of ancient man that maybe sometimes happens to stumble on something that's true, like all ancient texts did, or is this more like direct knowledge from a all-wise deity beamed down to man to tell us important things about the natural world?
Right, and I'll have to look at that verse. I'm not sure what they were trying to accomplish by sticking something up there.
And P-Town, we'll just go through a few more lines of questioning, and then we'll let you sum up your viewpoint, and we'll thank you so much for being with us, because it's been a great combo. What I want to know is that you were talking about the flood, and like, I feel like I could see it. Not a contradiction. Maybe you square that circle in a way that I cannot. But we were talking about, first of all, how you can't see how an evil entity could resurrect, because that wouldn't be within his nature. It would be doing something evil. However, you were kind of pointing out that the Noah story, at least from just a casual glance, it kind of looks like he's drowning a whole bunch of babies. And so, is it that God can't do something evil now?
Well, when you mentioned an evil thing raising people from the dead, it's just anti-Bible. So for me to think, well, if that happened, how would it affect me? Well, from my belief standpoint, it won't happen, because that goes against what the Bible says will happen. And so far, what we've observed throughout history and now, it doesn't contradict the Bible.
Well, so I agree with you that at least it would be, from that interpretation of the Bible that we have now, it would not look like that. However, you're still working with the assumption. Like, I would be okay with assuming for this the Bible is wrong. Now that may be where the crux of it is you're saying the Bible cannot be wrong, or I can't see where the Bible's wrong, or it's been tested to be right. But you did seem to hint that God was doing something evil. In fact, we were talking about how God seems to have had emotions. He had
right.
jealousy and rage vengeance, and so why, I guess, aren't all of those traits, like jealousy doesn't have to be evil, but it can be. I feel like jealousy can lead to doing evil things. Why did something change? Do you see where I'm trying to put two things together and I'm having trouble?
I can try it if you want.
Sure.
So let's go here. There's a passage here in Isaiah, I believe. Let me try and pull it up. That really resonates with me, because I do think that killing billions of people by flooding the earth is what we would consider evil.
A little bit, right?
Right. Yeah, it's challenging. But there, let's see.
Now,
There's a point here where God talks. Go ahead.
Well, it's just I can make a guess at maybe what you're going to do, an angle. I have no idea which passage. But what we normally get when we hear a lot of other horrible things, which was like, I want to say the 5D chess angle, like it just looks horrible to us. But like, you got to understand God's mindset from the 5D chess example. He's got a plan.
He's got a plan. We don't know it.
It just looks evil. But like, if we could see it from his perspective.
Well, what I love about, and this could just be my interpretation, I can't speak for all Christians,
Sure.
but I think God has a very unique sense of humor, according to the Bible. I think he kind of has this mocking, like.
I agree with you there. If that's true.
Okay, so listen to this verse. Okay, well, it's not just one verse, but.
And well, if you want,
it's also good, but I'm going to jump into the cool
out?
part. I'm going to jump into the
Sure.
cool part. Okay.
What part are you about to share? I like to show it on the screen if we can.
Oh, sure.
You can just say
Isaiah 45.
Isaiah 45. Give me a second.
And a lot of it's good because God's talking here. But I want to.
Amazing.
It takes. Okay. This is my belief. He's got this sarcastic, kind of put you in the place attitude. You see it a lot in the Bible.
He's trolling.
Honestly.
He's trolling people.
Well, can I tell you?
And I just learned what that is.
P-Town, the joke I normally get when I hear when I hear Christianity and they tell me that God has a son of like a sitcom, Like God is like upstairs with the paper. You know, he's just like, "Oh, you damn kids, turn it up!" Like I just that is what it sounds like to me. But
he has a
we'll
son. He is the father. He is the son. He's both at the same time. He's neither.
It's like he's Nicolas Cage. He's playing all roles at the same time.
Well, so I think it also pertains to the flood. Okay, but it depends on how far back you want to go. But let's go to can I start reading from verse 7?
You can. I would say if you go past Woodstock, though.
Okay, so I'm gonna just go fast here. I form the light and create darkness.
Oh, wait, where
this
are we
is God
starting?
talking.
Is this first of all? Is this? Can you see this is the book
Isaiah
of Isaiah
40, 45,
chapter 45, verse
7.
We're creating evil. Oh,
okay. I form the light. I create darkness. I make peace and create evil. I, the Lord, declare all these things. And then you go to verse 8. Drop down the heavens.
I feel like this is a really important part for us.
Well, maybe 8 will help you have a bigger comment on it, because now an 8 he's going to compare it to the flood from my perception.
Okay, but we can at least admit God does create evil. Like we can put that on the table.
Oh, yeah, he creates evil. He created evil. Yeah, of course.
I'm glad
he made the devil. Yeah. And he says, "Drop down, ye heavens from above, and let the skies pour down righteousness. Let the earth open." Remember, the earth opened, and the water sprung from the fountains of the deep. And let them bring forth salvation, and let righteousness spring up together. I, the Lord, have created it. I don't know, but I think it's referring possibly to the flood. That's like my interpretation. I can't.
He's like, remember that time I killed all those millions of people? That was great.
Yes,
I am
yes,
like
sir.
the shit. I drowned all those babies.
What?
I did that shit.
But P-Town.
It gets funny. It gets funny.
Can I tell you something, P-Town?
Yes.
There's two emotions. You cry or you laugh. This dude is giving a super villain like he's monologuing, and
he's God. Let him do it.
Only the God of the Bible would brag about crushing enemies that are infinitely weaker than him and derives glory from that.
Well,
watch what he says about you guys. Woe unto him that striveth with his maker. Let the potsherd strive with the potsherds of the earth. Shall the clay say to him that fashioned it, What makest thou? Or thy work? He hath no hands? Who's the clay here? The clay is us, because he formed us from the ground. He's mocking us. Are you guys really going to say, are you going to really strive with your maker? He's just got this, attitude. I think it's funny. He's making fun of us here. Are you really going to challenge me?
Aren't you we sometimes watch movies and we watch the supervillain and he gives the spiel, and then the henchmen, who are just lying, they laugh and they clap and we go, ooh. And most of us are like, who are these henchmen that are listening to this speech, clapping for the supervillain as he's reminiscing?
And grandma and grandpa and all my evil henchmen.
We got them all. Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't think that we did kill grandma, we totally did. If you thought the kids escaped, we got them too.
Hey, it's God saying it, and it gets good.
Oh, it's getting better.
We both agree, that this is, I believe God's saying it. You believe that it's saying that God said it.
I am not even, so yes, that is 100% true.
He's calling us a potsherd. He's calling us a clay. He's putting us in our place here. And it's funny.
I would love to see him put us in our place, because we make a hobby out of mocking him. And where does it say God shall not be mocked, Amy? We mock him every chance,
day in, day out.
And
it's a naughty God.
And are we both going to die someday? Yeah, that seems pretty damn certain. But that would happen regardless. That happens to everybody. So.
But my appeal to you, P-Town, would not be whether we agree to this, because we used to have Brett Keane come on. And we would talk about Maltheism and just how there's a position out there that they believe a God exists and that he's evil. look into that. I think you might find it interesting. But the Christians, of course, will find this very strange. I think even the Satanists kind of look at that and go, okay. But it's not that we disagree here on the maker. It's that this just seems like the supervillain. This seems like the guy that we want to be on the other side of. But we've been actually having a lot of talk. I want to let you have a final thought on just everything. And so, is P-Town, thank you so much. We have been calling me skeptical. We have been asking ourselves, thank you very much, does God exist? And we hope you had fun. And what are your final thoughts?
Oh, boy. Well, I appreciate you guys. You're always very cordial. I am sorry that I'm a Bible-believing young Earth creationist
you don't have to be sorry for
that
it.
loves the.
Just appreciate you willing to come and defend what you believe.
That's right.
I am here. I have nothing to benefit from it except for I want you guys to be saved and come to the knowledge of the truth, and then we can all be saints together.
Sinners and saints.
It's been a little while since I read Revelation, but I think we'll be coming on the clouds together with our saviors in the air. All the crazy stuff you guys think.
7-headed dragons, 2-toed turkeys, and
I just heard coming on clouds. Always somewhere new to try.
But I think we have a lot.
Shower for only so long.
Deities riding horses, and
I think that we all agree on a lot.
I'm sorry, we've been talking over his outro. Continue, Peter.
I think we all agree on a lot. Like, I think that we agree that as far as we can define it, yeah, God's done or made some evil things in this world. I think that, like in that passage, he's got a unique personality. We agree that he has a personality, if you could conceive of him being real. And I think it's a topic of conversation that's worth studying together, especially since your eternity depends on it. And I love you guys. I'll see you next week. You
can also now find God on Tinder. But yes, thank you so very much, P-Town. It really was lovely having you on, and keep on coming on.
I think our good friend P-Town, I think it is so great for him to come on. I think he's made a deal, kind of like a deal with the devil, where you give up logic and reason, but you get to live forever if it's true. So, hey, I mean, you get to marry a wonderful woman that you love. I mean, even if it's,
he has some interesting views that I'd like to go down with him on. I just think that I just cannot look at Yahweh any way other than a supervillain. Like, that is just the way he comes. Now, I understand from like Dr. Josh, a historical perspective, that, you know, these people weren't evil because at the time this really was what everyone was doing. And
this was the normal idea of a god at the time.
Them that we're given for. We're given like helpings to people who actually think that this is still real right now. Though we love them and think they're amazing.
Doesn't it just seem a little quirky that God seems to coincide with exactly what Bronze Age, Iron Age man would have thought a deity would line up with? He just seems to, like, God's morality seems to be pinpoint right down the center of Bronze Age, Iron Age human morality. Their concept of morality seems to be God's to a T, including slavery and killing gay people and doing all the things. The Most Reverend Nicholas P. Suter, Esquire. Yeah. Oh, the baseball bat of love.
That's right. We actually have Nick. We have backstage. We actually have Rubik's Nick, Blue, Beamsy, and who I could see is Toxic Taylor. Ooh, Taylor, may I ask, are you an atheist or a theist? You might get thrown right to the front of the queue, depending. I am going to be right back for just a moment, and then we are going to get into more calls into this episode of Call Me Skeptical. Does God exist? Do not pass go.
We'll bring our second host, our second.
Woohoo! That's right. The one actually keeping us online.
How's everybody doing tonight? So, yeah, Amy's been streaming all day. She had the stream this morning. Of course, I was working this morning, so we both been going at it. We both been grinding all day, as they say, but we are still down for a good time. You'll notice below our ticker there for our Patreons that will be turned on periodically throughout the broadcast. Another way to recognize them because we do appreciate their contributions and what they do that allows us to keep broadcasting, to keep mocking God, and to have an audience of people when we do it. Because, I mean, how fun is it just to mock God when you're at home by yourself? Or, I guess you can go out on the street and mock God. But anyway, it's a lot funner with you guys, so we appreciate it. Having the audience and the support that helps us doing it. But you gotta give Pete Down credit. At least he comes on and he's willing to answer questions and at least tells you what he thinks. That's actually a step above probably a good chunk of the theists we run into out there that are not willing to do that. They're not willing to engage with atheists. Even though we'll give them plenty of time, we won't mute them. We'll let them make their points, But anyhow, well, we'll let Amy answer that when she gets back, Bree. But the struggle is real. That it seems to be the first thing on their mind, and it's the struggle is real. That's all I can say. It just seems to be all that they can think about. They can't get past it. Yeah. Anyway. How's everybody doing tonight? Dolphins lost another rough game today. That kind of sucked. Good thing I was at work. I didn't have to watch it because if I was home or out watching, I probably would have tried to stick a fork into an electrical outlet. But anyway. No, you don't want Otangelo status to freak. That's you don't want to go down to that level. So we are we're cooking up a new a stream coming up probably in the next week or so. We're going to have Cindy Lincoln, the young Earth creationist, former Mrs. Hoven, come back and talk to a specially selected panel that she wants to talk to, kind of people that she wants to have a conversation with, and we're going to oblige her. We're going to do it. So stay tuned for that. It'll probably be in the next week or so. We just have to coordinate everything for her and the people that she wants on the panel. But of course, it'll be live, and you guys can watch it and ask questions. And yeah. Well, thank you, Pat.
Mm-hmm. So
Pat just answered the question, so we don't actually have to continue to. We don't have to continue to stream anymore.
He answered it.
He said no.
Oh, all right. Well, we can go home, everyone. Good night.
Yep, pack up.
What is up, Pat?
Bree asked you a fascinating question. We might not want to take too much time on it, but maybe you can. I'm sure it's something you can relate to. It's something that.
Sure.
That you have a common problem you encounter when trying to engage in your counter apologetics.
I can't get any apologist to have a conversation with me about anything other than my genitals. Any tips or tricks? can I just say I don't mean to say how funny this is, but James has probably listened to me gripe about this for as long as we have been podcasting.
And I see it. We see it during the stream. It comes up over and over again. It definitely is a phenomenon.
It's also the people. It comes primarily from the people. That's like, all we do is talk about gender identity politics, and we need to talk about trans people. We're like, okay, but the title is "Why Does a God Exist?" And this is why every time we're and they make fun.
What do you got down there? What's going on down there, Newman?
Exactly. What you got? Can I see? Can we see?
Can we see it?
But every time I'm like 10 out of 10 anti-LGBTQ dentists that come onto our stream end up sucking it on Grindr. James, as a heterosexual white male, please back me up on this, that this keeps on happening. And so
pretty consistent, yeah.
And I don't mean to giggle or tease because it's a very real issue and it probably sucks. So sending love out to you there, Bree, and I'll give you the best advice that I can give from someone who does not even exist. And that is from Tyrion Lannister. And that is, never forget who you are. The world will not. Wear it like armor, and it can never be used against you. What I have found is my delight is that whenever they start to bring up my genitals, it means that there is a weakness in their epistemology, in their theology, in the way that they are conducting themselves in their own belief system. And I have found that it almost becomes a weak spot for them and not you over time. It will become, they actually can't defend any of their viewpoints. They will not talk about anything. And what will happen is you'll find that sometimes they'll complain about it. You'll be able to let them go. You'll get them to actually talk about it. And when you can feel that they are pushed back into a corner, they'll go back to it again. That is a common occurrence. And all I can tell you is that means you're doing something right. Keep on being your awesome, amazing self. And you are a highly intelligent young lady.
They can dream about you.
Who probably is intimidating to them. Yes. Yeah. And that's the other thing. I find the people who have good apologetic arguments, if that's even a thing, tend to stick towards that. And they don't bring up,
even the great Ken Hovind, when debating a trans woman for a debate and a half, he hinted about the whole genital thing. Like, he kept dropping hints until he just couldn't take it anymore and said, "Do you have a penis? I need to know." And in the middle of a debate on evolution, what does your interlocutor's genitals or sexual orientation or gender identity, what does that have to do with evolution? Nothing, but maybe they don't want to talk about evolution. Maybe they want to talk
about biology. Well, they always say, because it's the hot thing to be like, you don't accept biology. And then I'm like, all right, women, do they come from ribs? Go. Well, and we never seem to talk about that. Okay. We could probably go on that.
We could go on
forever. Yeah. I'm just sending love, Bree. Like I said, it just means that. Well, first of all, I just always like to shout out that first of all, it means we're winning the culture war, and all they're doing is QQing. Hey, but no.
She has caught Matt Powell's eye, though. I mean, she has gotten Matt Powell can't keep his eyes off of her channel. He is always posting something about.
And
Reid.
Daddy Ket allows him to do that. Oh my! I don't.
Yeah.
Just it says passes Amy Bree. Just show them.
Oh boy!
Save them a couple of bucks and give them some peace of mind. Who knows? Maybe they could be your first OnlyFans. # clientele. Yeah. Yeah,
Oh
I think
look,
that's got to
we
be
just
what
got
it has to
a
be.
new user signed up. Says definitely not official Ken Hovind. Oh, definitely not Kent there.
No, not at all. Wow, that's real. It's this user is named I am amazing. That's weird. Huh. He'll be good.
Pat Mowell.
Anyway,
Pat Mowell.
exactly. So yes, I'll just keep on going down. I think I feel bad because I want to keep on shouting out Rubik, so I eventually want to get on. But I think that Toxic said they're a
Toxic is
deist,
a Taoist.
may have a thing. ETT and then Bitter Truth. I think you guys both disagree with us too. So it sounds like let's have some fun. Let's go in. For what? For does a God exist? We tend to be the no position. We're looking for yeses.
Kind of a hard no.
We'll think about that, and then I promise after our next disagree, I do want to get some of our agrees in. They're probably quick anyway, so we want to get them in so they can say what's on their mind. However, this on Call Me Skeptical, we're giving priority to people who may not agree with us, which means Toxic Taylor, you are up. We are Calling Me Skeptical on Does God Exist? Woo! What is up, Toxic Taylor? Welcome on board. Not too much. We're Calling Me Skeptical. In fact, calling us skeptical on Does God Exist?
I believe so, yeah.
All right. We're off to a good start on the question, but I guess then would be why.
Why I believe that the contingency argument is pretty compelling to believe that something caused everything.
Okay, that's interesting. So we'll put forward two different maybe arguments. You believe that our being is contingent, or the universe is contingent on this necessary being. I would put forth the argument forward that God is contingent on our minds to exist. How do we know which one of us is right?
Do you have an example
of God being contingent? Well, here's the thing. Both of us only have the example of what we're using. So I believe that gods are a false pattern. I believe that, so if we try to figure out what a god actually is, we can look at the ones that we really don't accept anymore. So like Thor. So like Thor is a creator of lightning. In the same way, you could say that Yahweh is a creator of universes in the story. However, if the Bible is just a inspired word of man, then these stories are just man-made things. And so with us and our books being destroyed, so would these concepts. And so they're actually contingent on us to even exist.
Yeah, I would agree with you there. Okay. But like you said, with Yahweh, that he's like a god of some sort.
A creator god, yeah.
Do you believe in Uncle Sam?
Do I believe in Uncle Sam? I believe in Uncle Sam as like a meme. I do not believe in it as like an actual character, like in real life.
How is Uncle Sam distinguished from the God of the Bible?
Oh, well, I mean, that's what a meme. I would say that's kind of what a meme is. A meme is an idea that can spread.
Yeah,
nobody thinks Uncle Sam is like a literal.
Sure, but would you agree that without minds, Uncle Sam would no longer exist?
Yeah.
So the Uncle Sam is contingent on us.
Yeah, that's not what I'm talking about when I say I believe in a God. I believe something that created an entire universe.
Sure, you're
It doesn't
saying
matter what I
something the
think.
universe would be contingent on this God. But why?
We don't have to believe in him. I'm not a theist.
Well, you are you're a deist. You're as close to our line as we can get.
But I don't believe it's necessary a God that intervenes or has
Are you a deist or?
Yeah.
Yeah, he said he was a deist. Well, I guess my question is, why are you a deist?
Well, like I said, I believe it's only logical to conclude that something created everything and set everything in motion to where we are now. Whether that thing gives a fuck what we're doing or not, I don't think so. I don't even think we could even comprehend something like that.
But when you mean this being, I feel
fact
like
that
that
you're calling it a
word
being.
well, and I
Yeah.
feel like that's one of the words that becomes very loose because we use being to mean a whole different kinds of things. We could mean like a being, as in like there's a being out there. I saw a being. It was walking. Or you could be like, oh man, you just need to be in the presence. You just need to be. I'm being. Like we could use it a whole different type of ways that I guess my question would be, is this being conscious?
I don't know.
I love that answer already. It is so.
If it is, then I would, right? I still don't fucking know. I don't see how I could. But like that would be a theistic God, now wouldn't it?
Well, I mean, I guess it really gets down to the boils. I normally include deism on the theistic line. However, like we joke in this podcast, at least, that like it's the Abrahamic religions that we generally have a problem with. Every once in a while, I've come across recently a pre-sop deist that had all the trimmings of another pre-sop, but though I find that you guys are very pro-science normally, so we don't find ourselves as like the enemies. However, I am still not convinced. Like you believe, you don't know its conscience, but where I would say it's not a conscience being, that's where my big gripe is that I believe in a non-dualistic world. I believe that you have to have a physical brain to have a mind, and I do not understand what it would mean to be like a natural a being that then instantiates natural phenomena, because that's not what happens right now. It would be the only being that we know of that like causes a natural phenomena like that.
Like a conscious? What if it's just a little ball of like a little ball of electricity, something that's weird and it just such whoop.
But why call that a
God?
God?
Yeah.
Well, it would create the universe. It did it. It doesn't have to be conscious or not.
Oh.
It's something that only happened once, you know.
Sounds more like pantheism.
No, pantheists. I think pantheists think that all the religions are the same.
Well, it depends on how you split, but because sometimes it gets very weird with the separation of pantheism and panpsychism and all. But can I ask, have you ever been an atheist, an agnostic, an atheist, are you an agnostic deist?
No, I used to be a Christian before.
Really?
Yeah.
So you're trending in the right direction.
Yeah. I was a Christian. I believe the Bible, but over the course of research, like that's what you mentioned, Dr. Josh Bowen. Like I have a staunch disagreement with him about his findings. Was that I see the God of the Bible as like a national symbol for the people that brought the Bible. I don't see him as like this terrible person that they followed. It's obvious he was their Uncle Sam or Yankee Doodle.
But I mean, if Uncle Sam advocated for genocide and all terrible things, he would still be terrible.
Yeah, that's a perspective. We live in like 20. I don't have to like. There's
I'm a
gun
moral
violence.
relativist. I'm there with you. I'm here. I'm with you on that one. It's all perspective, but I mean, from our perspective, that's the only perspective we can use to judge. So it's not that they were evil at the time, because like Amy was saying before, Yahweh is pretty consistent with the other deities of the time in the region. He's not remarkable in any way. He's not radically different. So he's actually what you would expect for a deity to come out of the region at the time. The only problem is when people try to apply that to today and say he's this great, good, moral, ultimate lawgiver. He put the Sodom in sodomy. I mean, that all these great things that they like, attributes they like to give him. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. That's where we end up backwards. But they were like, for them over there, like these guys are sheep herders, and like here, I might get into a car accident. I might get into, somebody might shoot me. These guys had like barbarians come raid their village, so that set of laws was cutting edge technology for them.
A book on how to fuck goats. I mean, okay.
I become Carrot Top the longer the stream goes on.
Yeah, I read Dr. Josh's book, and I'm reading this part about slavery, and it's like, yeah, we don't do slavery. We haven't had slavery in our country for 150 years, but back then, right, somebody telling you, hey, you can't use your slave to do this and that, and that was cutting edge, because they could chop their slaves' heads off and drop them down pyramids. They could do whatever they wanted. Well, they didn't have the police.
That's why I was saying the Dr. Josh's is basically understanding them in the historical context, and why basically James and I we always give like leeway to the people who were doing this thousands of years ago, because it was modern times. It was at that time, there was the only people around. The scientists were spreading leeches on people. And so like
I even give leeway to the people in the 1800s, that the fact most of them didn't know it was wrong.
Yeah, I guess right before the Enlightenment, really, you can give a lot more credence. But then once people have actually, what the most annoying thing about this wave is like I hate to now I'm this close to becoming a grandma saying get off my lawn. But like the most annoying part about whatever is going on now is like we have access to information, and yet there's like this wave of anti-intellectual, anti-science, I don't know what the fuck it is, but pro-conspiracy that I'm hoping. I think it's just because we're the Wild West of the information age, and eventually people are going to know what sources are actually good. But irreverent thing to an end. We'll trying to think where we could take this, because it sounds like we actually could agree a lot. However, the whole point is actually I just keep on wanting drilling. Also, that's what he or she said.
Not on God.
Oh yeah, exactly. Well, can I just tell you, we've had someone who like we've just met some very interesting characters, and we really met someone who's like, I don't have just a relationship with God. I have a sexual relationship with God. Deadpan face. You're like, okay.
Yes, we have sex. Yes, we have sex.
They have sex with God.
In fact, God is touching my head right now. And which one? Both.
Oh my.
Yeah. You have people come on here and say they're having sex with God.
We have, yeah.
We did have a one individual. It's that line of Poe where you have to go.
Individual.
Please, I hope they're trolling us. Please, I hope they're trolling us. But yes. Toxic, can I ask you, what would convince you a God does not exist?
If there's like a multiverse or some normal state of affairs where things are just created without like an infinite nothingness, I don't know how that would be explamed.
See, that was interesting though. I feel like you went in both directions. It was kind of a multiverse, Which is
like
definitely not a
multiverse.
nothing. That's definitely a something. That's many somethings. Or you kind of went towards this void of nothingness.
Yeah, like a multiverse that continues into, and there's nothing that started and nothing that ended and nothing that ever.
Ultimate Christian.
That
Like,
yeah. So
I personally think like if you could remove yourself from the physical universe and like stand on top of it and look at it, and you'd be in the multiverse, and if you move yourself out of that and look at what stand on top of that, then whatever you would be seeing would you would not even make heads or tails of it. It would be so far beyond our comprehension that you might as well call it a god, but I don't know that it would be a person. I don't think it would be a person. I think it would just be some state or some force that we just have no ability to comprehend right now.
yeah, and that would almost be God again. That's why I don't understand how to be an atheist.
Oh, well, I would say if you don't have...
Considered a force of nature, not a god.
Just don't have a belief in a god. I mean, if you're labeling just a force of nature God, I think that's just a relabeling, because what clarification does labeling something God give us?
What was that question?
Like, what use do we get out of labeling something God?
How does it help us understand anything?
Well, I think that's just our word for whatever created the universe.
Randolph wants to know if you have a kid.
That's the only, like, it's like a word. It's interpreted that, like, because we have like the mainstream that believe in Christianity and even Islam, and they have this. It's like a guy. It's a man even. But in general, I just believe it's like something that created they say supernatural. I don't believe in a supernatural God, but
So it's a part of the natural world we just don't understand yet.
yeah, just like how everything came to existence. Like, to be an atheist, I would say you just don't think about it and go, you know what, I don't believe any of these claims that we do have, but I just don't think about.
Well, it's not that we don't think about it. It's just that I actively do not think that our universe was created.
We see it as a natural occurrence, a force of nature.
Like, even if we were to go all the way back, the furthest we can go back is the expansion event of the Big Bang. And even if there was something that we could classify as a before, like you were saying, as a multiverse, it wouldn't be a supernatural event. It wouldn't be a god. To me, a god is a deus ex machina. It is a plot device. It is what we give when we are like, how do we fucking fix this? Well, God, just do
God of the gaps,
whatever.
Question begging, other logical fallacies that lead people to a god.
Well, yeah, because most people you encounter take the contingency argument and they apply it to their God, and even though he doesn't have anything to do with the contingency argument. We got
we see particularly Muslims like to use that argument.
I also think
talk about Allah.
No, but their gods, right? Yeah, it's contingent. Okay, now how did the contingent being create the whole world in 6 days? It doesn't.
I think that the specific theist use deistic arguments because the specific theist arguments suck, even worse so than what I would consider the whatever the Kalam and all these, which are so deistic they don't even talk about a god. They forgot that one, that you had everything on the shopping list and then you forgot a god.
Well, I guess
because once they introduce you to their god, they all suck.
Deists tend to keep to themselves because there's no compelling reason to convert people to deism.
Toxic. In a second, I'm gonna let you, because of how much we agree. I think I'm going to let you wrap up for a statement. But we actually, if you want, and we're only going to do this with if you want to, because sometimes people being springed on, it feels like a cage match. But Bitter Truth, who I think is a theistically theist, I think wants to challenge you. And so before he challenges us, do you mind if he comes in for 10 minutes? All right.
I get along with everybody.
Cage match.
There you go. I love that answer. I like to think that I have the vibe of a capybara, and you seem to have the exact same energy. So we are going into and sending love to capybaras, ladies and gentlemen. The world needs more of them. But we are going to
Most people don't know what they are.
do this. I love cat. This is going to be a shout out because I have to show what the world's biggest rodent is. I mean, come on.
I only found out about them because they were in the game Age of Empires 3. They were one of the animals that you had to hunt.
Really? That's fantastic.
Yeah, that's where I found out. Forget the American education system in biology. No, that's not where we learned stuff.
Ladies
you learn
and
more
gentlemen,
from video games than you learn from American education.
The world's largest rodent. First of all, they are not only adorable, and look at these little ones. Look at how cute they are. But capybara are amazing. As you can see here, very sophisticated. But they also have the energy. And I can just do capybara and other. And just you will find capybara. Oh. And other capybaras. They get along with like every other animal. Like they are literally one of the chillest animals. This is literally them with an alligator over here. Okay, everyone loves capybaras.
They're the sloth bear of the rodent world.
They are. Oh, I love
Rodentia.
And all right, let's now that we've had our capybara bar 2 bar supporters. Frank, we should have more capybaras.
Now that the mutual bullshit is over, where are you, son?
Yes. We are going to bring in Bitter Truth for 10 minutes, and then I will let Toxic have his outro so I can let Bitter start to grill us on our you silly atheist. But I have to admit that I'm a little bit biased that we've had Jack Burton on our panel for Randolph, and we're going to have Skylar Fiction, I think, on soon, and just a possibility. Just I like our deists on the panel. They've all been super helpful. As a
guest, they're to stay. They're just
as a guest. Oh yeah, no. Jack Burton has been a fantastic. He's almost a great anti-pre-supper. And then Skylar Fiction maybe. We're seeking to possibly expand the panel, though. I'll let Randolph do all the. Well, I guess capybara jokes. What do you call a capybara who coffees other capybaras? A capybara. What is up? Also, Mark Reid.
Hey, Mark.
He does. His icon also does too. He does and does. But yes, let's get the other cage match. What? I'm just kidding. We are going in. We're bringing it to real. We are calling us skeptical on does a God exist? And we're bringing in Bitter Truth. What's up, Bitter Truth? I hope you're doing well. I couldn't help but, it only, the Noah's Ark on this show only goes 4 wide. And so this is the most we have because it's a call-in show. However, you did seem to have something on your mind, and I couldn't help it.
You can't go up to 4.
Did you? We've been talking about a God exists. Did anything you think want to talk about?
Definitely. First of all, thank you very much for giving me opportunity to talk, and I would love to say thank you very much to James and Amy and Toxic as well. I would like. So the thing is, I was really radical and theist. I believe in religion. I believe in God. I believe in everything. The turning point was when I read the scriptures, the holy scriptures, and I believe this is from the God. But when those scriptures are giving me the scientific facts, I'm not talking about the prayers or stuff like that. But when they are claiming the scientific claims, um, when I look at in through the physics or through the medical science, it's completely opposite. And that was my turning point, and that's the reason I left religion. Because if this is really a holy scripture, and if this is our creator, he must know the anatomy of human and anatomy of this cosmology, this universe. He should know.
You're an atheist now.
I am atheist, 100%.
Oh, so you were a Christian before?
I was Muslim.
Oh, you were a Muslim
okay.
before. Okay.
I thought you were a theist.
I'm an ex-Christian.
Gotcha.
Amy's an ex-Jew, and now you're an ex-Muslim. So there you go. We have one former of each of the Abrahamic religions.
But that is okay. I actually am glad you're in, Bitter. I will still let you do a few more minutes if you would like with Toxic Taylor to talk about their views before I give you guys both your own outros.
Right. So when we talk about cause and effect, and when we talk about Big Bang and there should be a cause, we don't know that. Nobody knows that. How can we claim it? This is from the Quran, from Allah, or this happened by Jesus? We don't know that. But we know these holy books, the scriptures are completely corrupted. They are not even correct. They are talking about wrong science, wrong medical, everything is wrong. So it can't be that God. When we represent the God, we should be giving a proper properties, which is telling us, yes, this is exactly from the God, which science will be proving that, and every other sources will be saying that the same path which the holy book says. First thing. And the second thing, Adam and Eve story, that's also false. When you look at under the microscope, you will find there is a lot of bugs in that. Like we human came from the heaven, and Eve, she was formed by the Adam ribs, and then we've been on this planet about 9,000 years. This is all is wrong. Now the evolution is telling us we human about 300,000 years old on this planet. Even more than that, when we go through the radiometric dating, is telling us we are even not 300,000 years, but we are about over 6, 7, or 8, 9 million years old. So this is also false. Nowadays, what's going on? The religion scholars, regardless Muslim, Christians, or any other religion peoples, they are doing interpretation, and they are falsifying the narrations, whatever is telling us that the universe created in 6 days. So now they are telling us this is 6 periods. In I'm talking about Islam. Similar thing I found in Christianity and other religions, which is completely false.
Creationism, yeah.
So my question to dear Toxic Taylor, why do you think that this religion is might be a pure, or why do you believe that this might be by the God? There could be a quantum fluctuation. We don't know. So why do you think, and why do we need to believe in that type of theory?
So I think it's like, yeah, he's asking why do you call it a god if you don't know?
Oh, why do I call it the necessary being a god?
Yes.
Yeah, based on linguistics, I don't really mind if it's just like a rock that's insignificant to I'm more complex than it. But it would still be I believe in a necessary being, whatever that being might be. And that's the best word I could come up with as God.
If you look at the universe, if you look at the cosmology, if you look at the scientists, uh, more they look at the universe, m- less they convince about the God concept. Why it is like that? Do you know that?
They become less convinced, like God is disproven.
Like God existence.
Like you
What
see less need for a God,
Why
I
why
think
they
is what
why
I
they
would say
less
it. Like
convinced?
I don't think that's correct. That you saying that like people that study cosmology are more atheist?
That's true.
Or right? Did you say like people that study evolutionary biology become less Christian?
That's true. Less religion.
I
Let's
think
talk about
that's
just
an
the religion.
equivocation fallacy.
It's not the policy, or it's not the something else, because when even I myself, when I look at in the cosmology, the black holes happen when the stars dies, and also happens to have new stars. So who is forming those all? We can see through these all things. Then how can I believe in God?
Why wouldn't God be able to do that?
No, if the God can do that,
Follow
then
this.
who is doing? We are seeing the physical evidence. There is a dark matter, there is a dark energy which happening to have new galaxies, new planets. So why do we stick with the God? We are seeing the physical evidence.
The physical evidence that there is no God.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Okay. Now
more
what?
more you look cosmology, less you believe. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I'm non-binary. Well, I'm technically a guy,
Woo-hoo!
right? But I'm also I don't care. I,
That's okay.
I,
I'm
I,
bi and
Okay.
pansexual, so as long as you're legal and consenting, we'll find.
Yeah.
We're moving forward.
All right.
Bitter truth.
what he said,
Maybe if you
I was
had
trying
one
to.
last follow up,
she'll
and
find
then
a hole to get
toxic.
it in. She doesn't
Oh,
care.
I
that's
was
right.
trying. I got
But
distracted by
toxic,
that.
if you were about to, no, feel free to finish your statement, and then bitter, if you want to follow up, and then toxic will maybe have the last word. No, but back to you, toxic. If I
Yeah, I
interrupted
was.
you of my skeeziness, which I hope I'm gonna
But
probably
you're
keep
giving
on
this
doing.
you're giving me this proposition that like science is going out and they're ruling out. Oh, there's no God here. Like they're looking for God with a magnifying glass in the universe. Like I can understand it. Like if you're like with the Christian God or Islamic God, but you're saying God.
Those are from the Mesopotamian stories. If you go further and if you want to look at that, this is coming from somewhere. They are borrowing those things and bringing it to us. There is nothing connected with the real world. That's what I was just trying to say. But the science is, it talks about based upon the evidence, and atheism based upon the evidence. It's not like a belief. Belief is entirely different. It's just a philosophy. And philosophy, you can make anything. You can have multiple gods, you can have single god, you can pray even for the stone, whatever is satisfying your brain, but that's not connected with the real world.
The I'm lost again. Are you saying that because we scientists have gone out right? What we know today, we've completely ruled out God.
The science is telling about the objects, the physical world, the physical things, and oppose the religion is talking about metaphysics, which is almost like wrong. It's almost like a false. Everything, every single claim, when you read in Bible and you compare with the modern science, you will see it's completely wrong. If this is really from our Creator, any holy book, it should be matching with the exact uh, uh, what we are looking right now, like embryo development, like anything, like fossils are talking about. And when we do the radiometric, when we do their genome study, it's telling us that yes, they are like hundreds of thousand years old, might be 1,000 year old. And similar thing like cosmology, when we talk about the planets, we can see the planets happening, like the star dying, and then there is a black hole happen, the stars dies, but there is another universe created, or the other planet being formed, and we can see. So the religion is talking about the God, say Big Bang and Big Bang happened. That's completely false. I can make any type of philosophy. So what I'm saying, belief is it's based upon just hypothesis, hypothetical or fake stories. But the science is based upon reality, based upon experiment, and whatever comes out, that's what the science is.
Toxic have a response, but then Bitter, whatever your response is to him is also going to be your outro statement.
All right. Well,
or not yours, Toxic. We'll give you an outro, but you can have a response back.
All right. Yeah. So like, I don't have a religion. I'm a deist, and generally, like deists believe in the natural, what we call the natural God. It's something that started the world naturally. It's not something that's like like a superhero that starts the world and then comes back and tells everybody what to do and intervenes with it. So I believe that's self-contradictory. But like, if you're asking me why I believe that, I don't like within logic and what we know about our universe is that it started at one point, and we don't know about anything beyond that. And whatever started that would be considered the necessary being. Now, if it was started before that or into Infineon, that would be an argument against my position that there's a natural cause to the universe.
So, if you talk about like before the singularity, what was there, nobody knows that. Science never claimed that something was before that. And even religion books, they are what they brings us to, that's even not compatible with any of the scientific fact. There is nothing in the religion scriptures also. They are spreading hate to kill each other, and also they are restricting us. You don't have to love this, do this, or you don't have to go uh, to this, or you don't have to change your gender, and a lot of things are false and just restrictions. So like you even don't have a freedom in the religion. So that's the reason I really left Islam.
Woo-hoo. But on that, thank you so very much,
to have you come on, Bitter Truth,
for having you come on.
And
Thank
Toxic
you very
Taylor.
much.
Yeah, we don't get too many ex-Muslims on. How'd you find the channel? If we could ask.
Oh well, I found it suddenly popped up when I was just actually. I'm also activist. I'm attached with my brother Ghalib Kamal, and at one day I found your channel that it's Modern Day Debate. I just want to see what's going on there, and when I found, wow, it's a lot of fun and a lot of knowledge I'm getting from there. So I just join you guys.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's awesome to have you on
Thanks
board,
for coming on, Bitter.
Truth. Yeah, welcome.
You're most
on
welcome,
the panel.
and thank you very much. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
And all right, with that, Taylor, if you would like to just quickly say your final thoughts. We've been calling me skeptical on does God exist? Channel? Yeah, if you'd like to say that, and then your final thoughts.
Yeah, I'd say I would like to hear more arguments that compel me to atheism. I just haven't heard them yet. I'm still very much a deist, and yeah, I heard about it. Peter told me to subscribe to this channel a while back.
Peter!
I just caught you guys live.
We love Peter.
Yes, check me out. I'm at John's Spot channel.
Toxic.
Yeah, no problem.
Send me your link if you want in the private chat, and I'll hook it up on screen.
All right, yeah, I'll tell you guys my link. Yeah, we're on the John's Spot.
With that, thank you both, Toxic Taylor and Bitter Truth. It was lovely having you on.
Great to have some new faces on.
Yeah, exactly.
And thank you very much for taking me in. Thanks a lot.
Oh, thank you, Bitter.
Absolutely. And with that, we are got only Rubik's left, and they may be our last. If we don't get any more theists, they are
may
going.
be. But how about that? Two nice gentlemen to come on the channel, both very
exactly
well-spoken,
James,
cordial.
You lost my attention when you said we had two gentlemen come on the. That's right. We are calling me skeptical.
F-U-C-U-S. What does
we
that
are calling a good weekend.
Yes.
We are calling me skeptical on Does God Exist? Honestly, I cannot thank you enough for waiting behind stage.
From the
Rubik's.
beginning.
It's been hours at this.
Exactly.
So welcome on board, and we really want to know. Does God exist?
No.
Boom. All right. Good night, everyone. We're gonna play.
But I really have some.
Pat said that like 2 hours ago.
But I have some interesting points to make, especially to Bible literalists.
Okay.
I don't know a Christian that does not agree with the fact that the Bible was inspired by God and the Word of God. And
I don't believe that to some degree. Yeah.
With I think the only exception to this second point is the Jehovah's Witnesses. They believe that Jesus was God. So, given that statement, and if you read the New Testament, Jesus spoke in parables. And since Jesus is God, why couldn't the Old Testament also be parable? More for the Christians.
Heck, yeah.
Because you see, Jesus, he was relaying secret information, and he didn't want some people to know it. He felt like they didn't deserve it, or that it might actually be harmful to them. I guess I don't know.
I think the way it's described is that people can't understand it if it was actually said how it was.
They couldn't handle the truth. You can't
handle it. Why can't the Old Testament be a parable in the same way if it's God relaying information to man?
Wait a minute. Wow. Are you telling me the stories with the talking snake may not be true? I don't know.
Exactly, yes. And another thing
yes.
That does,
yes, no.
Like it goes against the thing is before the whole snake thing in the Bible, they didn't know it was wrong to disobey God.
Everything was good until Applegate.
Yeah, they didn't know it was wrong to disobey God. They didn't know what right and wrong was. So why punish someone who didn't know that it was wrong to go against what
the clear meaning of the text?
And then to damn every human being on earth because of that. Because of two people. You know, honestly, if that God exists, he's a dick.
Well, they were made to be intentionally ignorant of morality. And it seems like God, he just wanted to send billions of people to hell so he could drive this narrative. And he knew they would fail. He knew it, but it was a way that he could do it where he could say, well, it's not my fault. I just set the rules up and they ate the fruit. So therefore, billions of people have to go to hell.
If that God exists, he's a dick.
Again, he gives no fucks. He doesn't care. Like if somebody is born into a culture and they don't hear about Christianity, they don't never hear about it. Oh well, not his problem. He's not going to lift a finger to make sure they get the memo or get the message, because at the end of the day, he's not the one burning in hell. He doesn't care. I mean, he makes the rules. We got to burn by them, I guess. Yeah,
but one of my favorite theories in anthropology is the stoned ape hypothesis. I don't know how familiar either of you are with that hypothesis.
I do.
I'm sure Amy is extremely familiar with it.
It's one of those things where it's listed as I wish it were true, but I actually don't think it is. It'd be cool, but go into it.
I've been reading some papers on it, and the theory is that early hominins, before Homo sapiens, one of the things that led to our rapid brain expansion was eating psilocybin mushrooms. There's actually studies from Johns Hopkins that show that psilocybin does neural pathways. So it could have.
Believe that it does amazing things for everything you're about to say in neural
Yes.
pathways. So I am highly supportive of
Yes.
humans at least once in their
Amy's
life
CPU
trying a
is a neural net
psychedelic.
Yeah,
Listen,
so-
I'm highly skeptical of where it's about to go, but I will let you. But
Fair enough.
that's the best part of it. So continue.
Yeah.
So I can't let you not
I
finish
haven't-
on the Sunday.
Yeah, I haven't read a lot about it, but I know very basic that they think that early hominins like Homo erectus, a little bit before Homo sapiens and Neanderthalensis came about,
Homo heidelbergensis,
eating those
Homo
mushrooms
erectus.
help. It's more like the neural pathways that were built by the psilocybin were passed down because epigenetics is a thing now. It's known
That is true.
that your DNA does change throughout your
And
life.
can I actually, speaking of just epigenetics, just a
Yes.
sideway, just so we can trigger the fundamentalist as much as possible, I
Not
want to
trigger
get
the
this right.
fundamentalists.
Do you want to just talk about your pronouns for a second?
So I describe my gender as being bought on Wish. So
Oh my.
What is
So
that? I what? Bottomless?
So I'm non-binary. I primarily use they them pronouns.
Mhm.
It's really
Did
hard
you say
to describe.
you said bottomless?
Bought on Wish.com.
Oh, bought on
Bought
wish.com. Ba-da-ba.
Oh, okay.
So I kind of describe it
I
like
like
kind of a girl, but something's not quite right about it.
Okay.
But you can't put your finger on it. It's off.
Just
That's how I describe it.
a little bit off. There you go.
Not a she to freak. I'm not a she. I'm
Uh,
also ace, so that's a whole nother story.
Woohoo.
What's that?
Oh, someone called me a she. I said I'm not a she, and I'm also asexual. So
Okay.
Woohoo.
We have
my
a few
sexual, my
asexual
gender is no
people
thank
out there
you,
in our
and my
audience, so
sexuality is please no.
you just don't participate in any of that shit.
Yeah,
Yeah, you're just yeah.
You're trying, or I would say we are trying to trigger the fundies. They actually think, I will say it's the same thing that I was trying to say to Bree. We actually talk about it way less than I have found that the reactionaries end up bringing all this stuff. We always are like, the topic is, why did Jesus come back from the dead? And we inadvertently get people that just want to talk about our naughty bits. Though, not that I don't like talking about our naughty bits.
I have a good response to that. At least buy me dinner first.
I know, right? God.
Are you done? Are you
right?
DTF? Buy me dinner first.
And then we can talk about what our kinks are. What were we talking about? Reservoir Guar says, stop thinking about bottomless leather trousers and focus. Oh, but the assless chaps. They're just, what were we talking about?
Actually, exy music, they has been used singularly for hundreds of years. Hundreds of years.
Well, I always like to try and show them that they believe in a genderless God. And they always get there eventually. And then they still don't put like the two and two together. It's always like, it's got to be a male God. Okay, it's got to have a big
penis.
Okay, exactly.
Yeah. And a ball sack, Amy. God's got a nut sack with two balls in it.
Two balls.
Two testicles.
Specifically.
Newman.
Oh my God, can it be an omniball God? Can't it just have three? I feel like that has to be.
They're watermelon size,
anthropologist,
Newman. Get your head out of the gutter.
Language, as a linguist, you should know language is constantly changing. So why, about 500 years ago, at least 500 years ago, Shakespeare was using they singularly. Words change meaning and use all the time. As a linguist, you should know that.
But if you disagree with us, in fact, with any of what we say on screen, or say in the audio podcast, now is the time to do so, because we only have a few much before we wrap it up, folks. So the joke is, generally speaking, we're going to give Rubik's, because they're being so sane, rational, and reasonable, like a good 10 more minutes. But if you disagree with us, we'll probably only be here on for like another 5 or 6 hours.
I mean,
yeah, exactly. What?
I would just say this, like the fidelity to fight for like accurate dictionary definition of words. Like it, if someone doesn't feel comfortable being labeled as a he or a she, and each one of them doesn't feel right to them, I mean, you got to have some way to refer to them that is going to seem like it fits for them. And I mean, does it affect anybody else? I don't think so. I mean,
just because they has been used plurally doesn't mean it's only plural. Language changes all the time.
They used to say that for like, oh, marriage is defined between a man and a woman. It's what it says in the dictionary. Well, okay, we moved past that. Now nobody cares. It's defined as two consenting adults. That's all that matters.
Completely different, but I hate that it's really just a United States thing. But now that they have gotten "In God We Trust" on the money, now they use that as a precedent. Now they're like, well, it's been there. So
that was put on there in the 1950s because of all communists are atheists, and so they won't use money if it says God on it. You know, does it really hurt anyone to use the pronoun someone says to use? How does it affect you in any way? Honestly.
At that point,
if
it makes the other person feel, if it's what makes them feel comfortable, that's how they want to be referred to. I mean, how hard is it to do? It's not.
It takes zero effort not to be an asshole. Costs nothing not to be an asshole.
Well, also,
now people might do it inadvertently. They might do it without intentionally. But if someone's intentionally trying to do it, just
intent is almost always, because when people ask with a lot of these questions, it is always like the question is never like, what is a woman? What is a woman? It's always like, what is a woman? Oh, slam! It's like we know
you don't
we can
agree
say
with
this biology, sociology.
There's actually evidence
anthropologically, but the difference is that none of those people agree with you. When we actually look at the science and the data and the peer review mainstream data, it tends to disagree with all these people. And that's when the conspiracies start. That's when it becomes, oh, well, who did you get that data from? You're just getting it from Big Pharma and all that. It's like, okay. Right.
Yeah, I'm not saying that you're being an asshole, Eggsy Music. I'm just saying my degree is in anthropology. I have a background in anthropology, background in linguistics. Language changes. Just because they may not have initially been a plural pronoun and a singular pronoun doesn't mean it can't be, because language changes all the time, constantly. So why are you so insistent it's only plural when it literally language does change?
I did not know the gender of my cat for like 2 months, and so I just referred to them as they. I just referred to Moonlight as they because I didn't know.
And there should also make the distinction between sex and gender, because there is a distinction. A lot of people don't think of that. But there's actually been evidence that shows that trans individuals, their neurochemistry, there's been studies that show. So, for example, a trans woman, their neurochemistry is a lot more similar to a cis woman than a cis man. There's been evidence that shows that.
I've seen that too.
The same goes with cis men and trans men. Their neurochemistry is
There's
very,
be
very much
something going on there.
Now, a lot of people will hear that, and what we normally get is actually, at least in text chat, is all we get is straw men.
Yeah.
I feel like they know what we're saying sometimes. It's almost like a deliberate, not a deliberate ignorance when it comes to a lot of the trans issues.
Like Ken Hovind,
it's almost
when he pretends like he doesn't know something.
I should say trans, LGBTQ plus all issues in general when it comes to the fundamentalist.
Yeah,
but yes.
But yeah, one thing I like to, forgot what the philosophical thing was called, but it's the boat thing.
But diamonds are.
Yeah. You know what I'm talking about. I forgot what the philosophical thing was, where you take a boat, then you replace every single part of it.
Geez,
Someone's boat.
Tessus. I was just going.
But you know what I'm
over
talking
this
about.
because it's how if you change so many pieces, at what point does it stop being that thing?
Yes. Say a cis person. Ask the cis person.
Ship Theseus. Thank you. I was just looking it up the other day randomly too. Thank you.
Yeah. So talking to I assume you're a cis, correct, James?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if I took away your legs and replaced them with robot legs, will you still be a man? You identify as a man.
Yeah.
What about your arms?
Well, I don't know. I never considered that, but probably.
It's like one of those things. If you
still
replace
yeah. Right. I would still probably identify as a man. Yeah.
What about everything head down? Been replaced. Do you still think of yourself as a man?
If I was a brain in a vat. Yeah.
A brain on a mech, basically. It's one of those things that, like, at what point does a cis person? Why can't that same? Do you kind of see what I'm saying? Words are hard.
No, yeah.
But with
when you say that,
just a lot of
and turfs who are.
There's a lot of nuance in a lot of
how do you know
concepts
type of thing
that a lot of people just.
Oh, I hear a cat.
It's a generational thing, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're 60, 70, 80 years old, and then all of a sudden now they're telling you like, oh, all these things that have been just a given all throughout your life, now we're changing everything. I can see where it kind of like, whoa, what's going on here? But I think that's probably something that's been happening for a long time.
Also, I just want to say, computer, if you would like, this is your last chance. I understand sometimes if people are in sweatpants or eating ice cream or something, they're like, don't make me come on the stream. But hey, we sure would love to have you on. If so, you'll be our last one.
And
that's right.
Not wearing a shirt.
Oh my, sending love.
He's been cooking that steak for a while.
But also sending love to the Twitchosphere. Welcome, Genghis Khan says biblical things keep getting changed. I got baptized under Mormonism, but I don't practice it at all. And that is absolutely right. Tonight we are talking, does God exist? Right, we've been having call-ins. The first, I'd say we started with our most theistically theist, but that's actually how this show's oriented. And then we've talked with a bunch of people who agreed with us for the most part, but it's actually been a lot of great content, a lot of good back and forth. Had a deist on.
It has? Oh, yeah, it has.
But Rubix, we have been calling me skeptical. Is there anything else you would like to say? Does God exist?
Up out of the woodwork, Amy.
So my final thought is it's okay to say
I'm sorry. It's just
I was able
James
to
talks about
shirtless
men making steaks.
Steak.
Oh my!
He appears.
But we're sending love. That's right. We're sending love, Rebel. Welcome on board. If the Earth is flat and God is real, atheism is dead. James, Rubix. I think we can close up shop. We're done. Atheism is dead.
It's a good thing. Neither of those are true.
And I'm sorry, Rubix. This is the last thing, and then we really are going to say. But if anyone would like to really come, we're just gonna say, just put that right in that stream, right there. And with that, Rubix, I'll say it one more time. I'm sorry for interrupting, because you have been amazing. We have been calling me skeptical, and does God exist? What are your final thoughts on anything we've been talking about?
There's nothing wrong with the answer. I don't know. It's okay not to know.
If that's the truth.
So, just because science doesn't have all the answers does not mean that God had to be doesn't mean God is the answer.
Religion doesn't have any answers.
Only questions.
Science can't answer all the questions, but religion doesn't answer any of them. And as the great Aaron Ross said, somebody got the wrong answers in Genesis.
Oh, yeah.
But thank you so very much, Rubix. It was lovely having you on. Keep on coming on.
Thanks so much, Rubix. And Get ready. Oh, we fished him out. Here he is, Amy.
We threw enough worms and corn out
Fresh
there.
meat.
We got our fish. That's right. But Rubix, it was lovely having you on.
Thanks so much,
Yes.
Rubix.
Yep.
And all
You
right,
get a
this
line,
is gonna be
I'll
our
get a
last
pole.
night.
We'll
That's
go
right.
fish in the crocodile hole.
We will send love, Genghis Khan. I'm going to send the Discord link into chat. We absolutely have a Discord. We run after shows, or at least it becomes an open house after show after every episode of our show on Discord. However, I've been thinking about this, and maybe I'll do just a few myself, and then I'm just gonna try and start inviting James W. in with me. But like, I want to just start. I've been on some channels on Discord, and I've been debating with people, and like I've had that exact vibe, which was like I should just be recording this. Like I shouldn't be just doing this into a void. So maybe I'll do one or two. And then, and while I'm doing that, maybe I'll introduce you, James. Then we'll end up both doing that.
Oh, boy.
We'll have some dual Discord debates on.
We can get our
our
brass knuckles and our protective cuffs on.
But yeah, thank you so very much,
David Divine
Rubix.
Broadcast. Good to
thank
see
you
David.
so very much, everyone out there. David Divine, what is up? So good to see everybody, the whole Skeptic and Ranting crew. We're going to get Rebel on. He's probably going to be our last call for the night because we've been having fun and we've been calling me skeptical. And yeah, anything else, James, before we move forward?
My body's ready.
You heard it, folks. Our body is ready.
As ready as it's gonna be.
With that, we are going into Calling Me Skeptical on Does God Exist? And we got Rebel, Nazarene backstage, and we're pulling him in to the hot spot. What's up, Rebel? We're calling me skeptical, calling us skeptical, and Does God Exist? A pleasure to have you on board, and we want to know your thoughts.
I'm just kind of chilling tonight. I didn't really hear you guys stream earlier. But what's your guys' best points or evidence or whatever you have that proves God is not real or that he doesn't exist?
See, that is an interesting. So I'll answer, but I always find that an interesting thing because it feels like a throwing of the burden. I'll shoulder that burden because I think there's good reasons why a God does not exist. However, I know you have some very specific claims. Now, with that being said, why do I think that a God does not exist? Well, I'll start with the quote-unquote lack theism, in that there is no good evidence currently so far for a God to exist. So I put that as just one thing over here, that we have not been presented with anything. Not only that, but we should not believe anything until we have been presented with good evidence for that. So with that pillar
a need for
standing, exactly, we don't have an actual use. In fact, I would also say that God, as far as I could understand it, is a plot device. We were talking a little about this earlier. A deus ex machina is that God is only used as a place mark for things that we do not understand. It's never a clarifying point. It's never like, this is God, and then we're like, boom. At least not in science, it doesn't have anything. And then number 3 is how consciousness works. Just that it seems to be a mechanism that animals use to walk around on the macroscopic landscape. And as much as we value it, as much as we think it is the best thing since sliced bread, that it doesn't seem that fundamental to the universe. And it also seems like it needs a physical medium to interact or do anything. And so I am very highly motivated to believe that a God does not exist. I don't know if James has any.
Wait, I'm not sure if I caught
This
the last
conversation is
bit
being
about
recorded.
wait,
sir.
what was that?
Sometimes we have Soros actually has. Sometimes he's spying on us at all
I beg your
times.
pardon, sir?
Oh,
You know
so
what?
he's
Don't
doing
you?
little. He's doing nice.
So we're more irreverent than we should be, or maybe just enough. But Rebel, well, it sounded like you had something on your
What
mind.
do you think?
I'm trying to think like of the stuff you came up with. Oh, okay. The first thing was there's like the first point you made was like there's no good evidence, but like the word good is just that's a subjective term. It's an adjective, right? So you saying the word good evidence, that's just like at the least it's your opinion, because obviously for other people there is what they consider to be good evidence to believe in God, just like me.
But
right?
I do not think that is a flaw in the point, because you, by just saying I need evidence for God, well, evidence for a God can be anything. And so I use good as a qualifier because I don't just want evidence. I want good evidence.
Okay, can I ask you for an example of what a good example may be to prove to you that God is real?
To prove to me that God
what
is
would
real.
prove?
I mean, it would depend on a specific God. I could make a God that I think would be provable. The God of the Old Testament, where he's like talking with people. We just read a chapter in the Bible that said God appeared. Like it not the annotations. It literally said, and then God appeared. And so, like, I
which verse
wish.
was that?
Oh, we'd have to look. It's just the end of
the end of Deuteronomy.
Like the last chapter.
He also appeared to the elders of Egypt, or the elders of Israel in previous chapters.
Not the elders of Zion. Soros, no. I'm just kidding.
He mud wrestled with Jacob.
Wait, are you guys talking about angels? The angels appear?
No, where we are, Moses is just about to find the Holy Land. He's an old fucker in this story. Like we're way past what people associate him as the Moses story. He's 120 right now. He has been wandering for a long time. He barely remembers Egypt, except for the fact that God reminds him each and every day that he took him out of it.
Yeah, God's really just taken to show the promised land before God kills him for being an unfaithful servant, I guess. Been carrying water for God for a long time, but
hold on. I think we kind of got a little sidetracked because I asked you, because you made the claim that there's no good evidence to believe that God exists, and so just on I'm just asking you for the contrary, for the other side. You're also making the I'm supposed to assume that maybe there would be what you consider to be good evidence to prove to you that.
Do you think you have bad evidence that a God exists?
No, it's very.
So we are both convinced by good evidence.
I think it's just obvious. I just think the existence of God is not only obvious, but just like simple logic and what should be common sense. But
so then what's your disagreement? We both want good evidence. Like I
already have it. You're the one claiming that you don't.
Yes, I agree. You say, you claim it's good evidence, but that's just your subjective opinion.
No, I can also just use because I can use the logic of what created things, like usually have the characteristics of they're organized, they have some sort of design aspect to it. So a lot of time they have
to use design aspects. It's designed.
Right, like if something is complex, like there's different
complexity has nothing to do with design.
Of course it does.
Defend that claim.
And especially for a supernatural designer, right? Because because nature is far more complex than anything a man can
Are
make.
you a fan of the Yahoo search engine?
Not particularly, no.
Haven't used it in a while?
I'm not
How
sure what
about
that has to do with
Alta
anything.
Vista?
Well, why do you like Google? Why is that your search engine of choice?
I just find it to be the most like user-friendly, like the interface.
Straightforward,
Simplest?
streamlined.
It's kind of like the reason why I have an Apple iPhone. Just the
Oh,
user interface is quite.
I
user-friendly.
could not agree more. You wouldn't want a complex phone, right? Like you wouldn't want something really overcomplicated. You just couldn't get in there. You had to
Like,
use
you have to
all
go
these
into-
different
Wait, that
layers.
literally has-
You have to go into
Wait, that's such
6
a
different
bad-
menus to make a
You're
phone
starting
call,
to see
or-
where we're going. It's okay.
No, it's a terrible analogy because
Okay.
Not at all.
the engineering behind that phone is just as complex. Like the engineering behind the iPhone is just as complex, if not more, than the engineering of an Android phone, a Google phone. Even though that user interface happens to be less user friendly, that's the only thing that's being argued with the user interface. It's not the complexity of the engineering behind the phone.
But our point is still that simplicity would be the better hallmark of design than complexity.
Amy, you're talking about the simplicity of the user interface. I'm talking about the phone in general, like all the electronic parts and the different.
You're saying a phone can be
chips and stuff.
complex. I agree with you that a phone can be complex, but it is not the fact that the phone is complex. So let me tell you something, or let me ask you.
What?
A phone is. You're saying a phone is complex. Not being bad faith, whatever. You're saying that an iPhone or a phone is complex, therefore it was created.
All smartphones are. No shit, Amy. I mean, it's like
don't say that. Okay, you're saying no shit when you don't even get to my point. What if
Amy,
just say
a flip phone? A flip phone is more. A flip phone, like back from the day, is a lot more quote simple than a smartphone. But of course, you would want the smartphone because it's a more complex, technologically advanced of a phone.
Because complexity is the hallmark of time. So you'd want a device that has been further in time. But that's different than
or just intelligence too.
Okay, so we have. Let's say it's the most smartest, highly intelligent computer ever. This is why you're not getting the analogy. It's like so unbelievable. Okay, let's just say I camped out in the woods for a night, and I'm like, oh my god, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I need to eat. And so like I look in my backpack and there's a little bit of a string and like I have a paper clip and I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to take string. I'm going to wrap it around this stick. I'm going to put the paper clip on it. And wow, I just like that. I now have a fishing rod. So what's the difference?
Wait, the difference between your little ghetto contraption and what versus what?
The iPhone.
Wait, what the heck? Wait, you kind of.
What is the difference between the thing that I just MacGyvered and the brilliance of the iPhone?
Your little contraption, if it even works as a fishing pole to begin with, which it probably doesn't, the way you described it, has completely no value as opposed to an iPhone that pretty much no one in the modern society can live without.
Let's pretend we're on an island now.
In terms of the value it can give.
Let's pretend we're on an island now. You have your cell phone, which is not reaching service, and I just have my fishing pole. Which do you think lives longer?
Lives longer? I didn't know they were both alive, bro.
You and me, we're alive.
Oh,
dude.
Okay. You're talking about. Okay, sorry. I think I heard you wrong.
I mean, like you value your iPhone because right now you put a lot of weight on this thing. But if you were in the woods, the very simple ghetto contraption all of a sudden would be keeping you alive.
Just a absolutely pointless, futile, hypothetical question because the likes of that happening to us is very unlikely. You think you're in some like Survivor kind of TV show right now.
Okay, it's still a hypothetical. You can assume it were true. Assume it were true.
Like
what?
Humor us.
Even if it was true, yeah, that doesn't leave out the possibility for me to like go kill you and take yours or make my own. Like
I really don't think you get the point. Is that the only difference between?
It's a pointless question. It's a
No,
stupid hypothetical.
because complexity is the
like instead of debating reality, right? Like instead of like going with the facts that we do have, you just always have to resort to like these crazy hypothetical situations.
Because
unlikely.
complexity is the hallmark of time.
It's very childish, actually, if you think
because
about it.
Complexity is the hallmark of time.
You're a flat earther. You can't. A flat earther can't use the term reality.
The Earth is flat. The Earth is flat. Fixed and it goes in the dome. Change my mind, James. You can't do it.
I can't change your mind because you don't want it to be changed. You don't want it to be changed.
What do you mean?
You are
James.
You are happy with your delusion.
Who believed what you did.
You are happy.
And I'm
with
the
your
one
delusion.
who changed my mind. I'm the one open-minded enough to go from what I believe for the most of my life to change my mind. You're the one who still believes the same thing that your first grade teacher taught you at elementary school.
Yeah, you know why? Because it's true. You know what they also taught me?
Not. Have you been to space?
You know,
have you seen the curve?
1 + 1 is still 2.
Wait, why is that an insult that you believe what you, James? You know what? You still believe what you learned in kindergarten. Those ABCs.
Yeah, I mean,
you're still using them.
When you use your colors, and orange is still orange, red is still red. I mean,
right. So therefore, everything else is true, right?
No, the point, and I just want to bring back to my point is that
do you understand how deception works, guys? Like deception, if you study the art,
Decepticons work.
If you study the art of deception, you will realize that most of the time when it works, because a deception is only useful if it actually tricks or if the person believes a lie, especially to the point where like it like affects their life, right? Like that's what good scammers and conners do. They deceive you into their scam, right? So if you study the way deception works, it is like a little bit poison of a crazy lie mixed in with a whole bunch of truth. That's what makes it believable, and that's how deception best works.
You know how delusion works? You know what delusion is? Well, you're very familiar with it. You just aren't going to acknowledge that, right?
But
yeah, are you familiar with how?
So you live in this world where the world is flat and everybody else is wrong, and all this science stuff.
You think I'm the only one who believes it? You think I'm the only one, James?
No,
we've debated some people.
So don't say everyone else. Why are you saying everyone else?
Okay,
the
vast majority of people.
Oh,
99.8%.
So now whoever believes something the most makes it true all of a sudden.
Well, it doesn't make it true, but it seems pretty obvious to just about everybody else. What were you talking about before? Common sense? Oh, it's common sense. I mean, we don't even have to.
Which I said is not common these days. I'm realizing. If you can go back and see where I said that.
Okay, I just want to say that the reason that the only difference between the fishing pole and the iPhone is time.
Time, dude? What are you talking about? What time?
Complexity. It's the hallmark. We'll move on to another thing because I feel like I've made that point.
Humans started off making stone tools.
It's knowledge. Why are you?
Hundreds of
I don't know why you just
ago.
What's the word?
You're throwing out terms.
Amy, I don't know why you're dwindling it just down to time, because obviously ingenuity, innovation, intelligence, and knowledge all have to do with it. Like someone can just be an overnight genius.
But all of that could be doing. So we could spend time making the best fishing rod ever, a smart fishing rod that helps you catch fish, that fishes for you.
Wait.
In other words, it's how complex do you want to make a fishing rod? How much time do you want to invest into it?
I don't know. I personally don't really go fishing, so I don't really care. It depends on who you ask. But a smartphone, like there's a lot more people that have a smartphone than a fishing rod. I'll tell you
now
that.
Who's making the ad popularium, and it's not about who owns it. It is like I feel like the point is either going over your head, but I feel like it's still getting to the audience.
No.
So I would want to get to either maybe a point that you have.
You're removing the point of value of which inherently will be included as part of technology, the reason why people will want to use it in the first place. You're giving me an arbitrary example of a fishing pole where it's you can argue it's a very niche kind of hobby and sport to do. not many
It's
people
not
are
about
involved.
a niche. It's an invention. I could do this with any
Yeah.
invention. The point was just to compare that simplicity is a hallmark of a design, and that complexity is the hallmark of time. Doesn't
Wait.
always apply that way, but it is a good rule of thumb.
Simplicity can be a hallmark of good design, depending on the context. Like,
Oh,
you don't want
look, you're
someone to be-
joining me in the good verbiage
good
here.
design.
Yeah, right. But you have to understand like the different levels of context. I'm talking about the nature of creation is like. I'm talking about the engineering side where you're talking about the finished. You're arguing
No.
from the side of the finished product when a consumer can actually use this technology. Whereas I'm talking about the back end
Doesn't matter.
where the designer and engineer is actually in the process of making that thing. We're on completely total.
Please explain that to me. I
opposite
believe
spectrum.
I'm explaining this from an
We're not arguing on the
engineering and
same level.
designer perspective. So please explain to me. I hate to use the word projection because I get in arguments with this specific deist who uses that word for everything, and now he's all I think about for that word. But like, I'm trying to explain from a designer's perspective why the iPhone is made to be used simply, why the Google search engine is made to be used simply, why when you want to get into your car, you want to get into it simply. You don't want it to be like a maze to get into your car.
Yeah.
Oh, we're getting rated on.
Woo! Welcome, Raiders! Woo! Sending love to our Twitchosphere.
Hey, raid away.
We are talking. That's right. We're calling me skeptical. And does God exist?
We got
and
a nice piece of meat in the pan
young
right here. We are
Earth creationist.
turning up the heat.
When we say flat earther, does that upset you? Sometimes people are they like skeptic rounder or something.
It's better than globe-tard or globehead. Like you guys
Okay,
are.
we'll take it.
Perfect.
Flat earther.
We have a flat earther.
The flurfers.
Or really, like I said, probably in the beginning when I started calling it a biblical cosmologist, or you can say even a firmamentalist.
I like that. I like biblical. That's perfect. Biblical, because we tried
so, James,
to tie.
Does that mean you do agree the Bible teaches a flat, stationary, geocentric Earth?
Yes, I do. The Bible does teach that. Yes,
because in the
absolutely.
When I previously called them, you guys were
And
fighting.
the Bible
You have to
wrong
understand.
again. The Bible got that one wrong.
You have to understand, Rebel.
But James,
we're
if it was
atheists.
flat, the Bible would be right, wouldn't it?
What's that?
If you did convince yourself that the Earth is indeed flat, then the Bible would be right in that instance, wouldn't it?
I mean, if the world was flat, which it's not, but if it was, then yeah, the Bible would get that one right. It would still get lots of other things wrong, but okay.
Okay, congratulations. Well, it is right because the Earth is flat. Amen.
No.
Can I ask, Rebel? Can I ask you just on a personal level, how much do you share your power level with your friends and family?
Power level? What do you mean by that?
Okay, so it's I used to talk on 4chan, and all of their conspiracy theory and red pill nonsense that they push, they talk about their power level as in they can't actually share their actual real views, the real intellectually true views with their friends, because they'd get rejected by their family and friends for those. And so I guess I already gave my spicy part away, in which is, how do your friends and family feel about you being a flat earther?
Oh, trust me. Besides at my work office, I pretty much I have to put it this way. I have to like sometimes hold myself back from quote unquote flat smacking everyone I know. So I have absolutely no problem with expressing my thoughts and beliefs and opinions with anybody, especially with the exception of the work office, because I wouldn't want to risk me getting fired for something like that. Although I have told a couple people that I'm close with, coworkers, I have told them, just not in like general.
Interesting. And I've asked this before, and I know that just confirm it for me. I know James and I probably think we disagree whether it's true, but you said you actually believe in the flat earth for scientific, not religious reasons.
Correct. Yes. I first saw what I believe to be empirical evidence that points to a flat, stationary, firmament, dome enclosed Earth in a geocentric universe. And then, just like James admitted, now when I saw that the Bible describes the Earth in this fashion, I was led to believe that the Bible must be true.
Yeah.
You believe in a dome?
Yes, a firmament.
Dome and all.
Dome. In fact, hold on. The Bible version, what is it called? Is NASB, something like National American Standard Bible, whatever. In Amos chapter 9, verse 6, in description of the firmament, it actually uses the term vaulted dome.
When you mean that there was science for this dome, what do you mean?
That I've seen video evidence of multiple rockets going straight up to the air and just stopping when seemingly they should have gone to outer space, and also atmospheric pressure as well would lead me to believe that the necessary antecedent for air pressure would be some sort of container that's that the molecules of the air are pressing upon.
How do you know what you were actually seeing in these videos? How do you know it wasn't someone who was already a supporter of Flat Earth trying to release or create footage that is cherry-picked for that view?
I don't remember the exact details, but I mean, you can watch the full video, and even the original. There is an original link for this one specific video I'm thinking about right now, where you can go look at their website, and nowhere in there, can you get any sort of idea that they're like flat earthers or whatever. And I'm pretty sure people have asked them, and they said like, no, we're just like rocket scientists that wanted to experiment with a rocket that we built, and we built it really strong to go as high and fast as it could, and this is what ended up happening because they strapped a GoPro camera to it with uncut footage, which by the way is something unlike NASA would ever do. And NASA always
Did it hit the dome? Did it hit the dome?
NASA always like highly edits their shit. Like even on the live streams, they give you one angle from the ground, and then the next one is the camera, and they cut it and splice it. And especially when it's the time for them to be in outer space, it's always a cut. They'll never show you straight through from Earth.
Rebel, what you are claiming about NASA is what I am
chopped and screwed. It's so bad.
Rebel, what you are talking about. What? So did the people that presented the video? They said it hit a firmament. What was their conclusion?
I haven't heard directly from them about what they think it was. Because
but it sounds
like I said, they're not quote flat earthers. They're just
what
like
it sounds like you're saying is you saw a video that you didn't understand what was going on, and that this was you. How did you get from I don't know this is what's going on to it is hitting a firmament?
Wait, what do you mean? What do you mean? I don't know what's going on.
So you just saw it, and you're just like, well, it hit a firmament. I believe in a dome now.
That wasn't like the very first evidence that I came across. That was part of the first time I saw that was part of a documentary.
Okay, well then we got to go further back. I mean, was there any time where you were a skeptic, atheist, agnostic?
Never atheist. Never
atheist. Okay, what is
just, like I said, it's obvious. Like God exists is obvious, but the flat earth just like makes 100%. Like,
I mean, when you say it's just obvious, do you feel like that gives credence to your claim?
Sure, why not? I can say I can use whatever argument I want.
We could say the globe is obvious, and it is to us, but
no, it's not.
I'm not even joking.
Water doesn't curve, James.
I'm not even. Well, I mean, it follows where it's flowing.
And that's always down
when
to
you
the
have
lowest level. It goes
You
lower.
would have to assume gravity does not exist to understand that the water is actually being held together from all sides,
Gravity.
and that actually the container is the fact that it has pressure from all sides.
It's an invisible container.
What's
But-
gravity?
I want to say, is there a time
That's not true. 'Cause
where
gravity should be the strongest here on the Earth's surface, and you can't recreate making a water ball in the air somewhere.
that gravity is not a very strong force? This is where you
Yeah,
say,
it's one of
well,
the
it's
weaker
so
forces.
strong. How is it?
It's
Well, that's
not-
because you have to have a
wow.
lot of stuff. You got to have a lot of stuff to
Well, I mean,
actually do anything.
It's
You
not
can pick up
strong
your
enough to-
You can pick up
it's
your
not strong enough
Gatorade
to
thing.
keep trillions of
Yeah,
gallons
you can
of ocean water.
defeat Gatorade. You can defeat gravity by just.
But the
picking it up.
water is just a big mass of water, and there's nothing pulling the other way on it. It's just being acted on by the Earth's gravity. There's no other force acting on it. So
I mean, on a globe, like waterfalls and rivers and streams have to be like going upwards. Like
yeah, sometimes they do.
can
It's called water pressure.
But then, if you were never an atheist rebel, what it sounds like, this is how you found out. You were already a Christian.
no,
Then,
I mean,
you weren't.
no. I'm only I've only been a serious Christian, like just a little over 2 years ago.
But you
Other
were
than-
never an atheist. You were always a believer.
Yeah, that's like you can say that's like the deist argument, right? Or like you don't believe in any of the religions.
So,
but
have
do
you
believe
always
in
been a
the-
Christian?
What?
Have you always been a Christian?
I mean, I grew up in a Christian home, quote unquote, like Christian family, and I went to Sunday church and stuff like that. But like,
Okay.
I never really in my
Oh, you cut out. You never really in your whole. Oh my, your whole.
Must be.
Uh-oh. NASA. Soros, is he still allowed to
Yeah,
talk?
yeah.
Oh, Soros.
The Freemasons
he has to
shut him
get
down.
Oh my God.
George
The
Soros. and the
Illuminati has to
Freemasons.
get here. We're gonna have to clean another one up. But Rebel, we
Still
may
cleaning
have
mutant.
lost you.
Leaves only the fresh scent of pine.
Exactly. Well, I mean, maybe it's a straw man. Maybe he was just realizing it. He could contextualize it. But what it sounds like to me is his process was he was a Christian, and then he found out that the Bible says that the earth is flat. And then he realized that the Bible says is true, therefore it is flat, and now we have to continue saying that it is. But maybe I got you wrong, Rebel. We always love having
There'll be
people
another
disagree
time.
with
Keep
us
cooking that
on.
steak. Keep cooking
That's
it.
right.
Eventually it'll get done.
Mhm. Listen, if I had a nickel for if I gave a nickel for how long I would watch shirtless men cook steaks, I would not have anybody, ladies and gentlemen. But
You'd be broke.
I'd be broke. What is up, Clockwork Rex?
Have one for me.
I feel like we are now good. Oh, he said his Wi-Fi went out. Well, send in love, Rebel. Unless you join the next 30 or so, we'll give you a minute
then-
to join on. But if not, I think we're gonna.
Therefore,
wrap up.
was
It's lovely having you
the
on, though.
Freemasons George Soros that cut his Wi-Fi out?
No, that's right. Damn you, Soros.
We can't keep. He's gonna flat smack everybody. He's gonna convince everybody the world is flat.
I just love how they really think that NASA is this big bad organization. Like they are the one organization that liberals and conservatives do not care about. Generally, are actually for that. You could actually sell NASA shirts at a Hot Topic and it'll almost be trendy. I have a NASA
Or a Walmart
sweater.
even.
What is up? Yeah, exactly. And
Let's
so
have
it's just
tech issues,
weird.
yeah.
Well, the joke is always you talk shit about satellites and satellites will talk shit back. Turn off it. No problems. Oh, Rebel's back on. Well, we're still got the clock on.
All right. Get ready to get
We'll
flat
go,
smacked.
Rebel. We got 10 more minutes left. And then we're
10
going
minutes
to be
to flat
wrapping
smack
it up.
us.
Exactly.
Wait, was that the Illuminati coming at me because I was dropping?
It was. Well,
The
listen,
Freemasons specifically.
every once in a while, Soros doesn't like it when you're talking about certain subjects. So we got to
Dome
shut it
is
down.
really a triggering thing for him.
If it drops out within the next 5-10 minutes, then
Oh, it was us.
if it does
I
before
mean,
10 minutes, it was
These are the
definitely Soros
powers we have.
telling the CIA to cut my internet. That would be.
Listen, we get to millions, if not billions. I think, James, do we reach? I feel like we reach trillions
Wait.
somehow.
Why
What's the
reach
last thing you guys heard me
trillions
say, though?
when you can reach billions?
Exactly. What were you saying, Rumble?
What's the last thing you guys heard me say?
You were like, atheism is true, and then it all just went blank.
Atheism is okay.
I'm just pulling your
I
leg.
think I was saying something quite the opposite. But okay.
You may have been.
Yeah. So the Earth is flat.
Yes,
God is
this
real.
is a role play, a very deep role play, but it's live. We do it live.
Yeah. So in conclusion, the Earth is flat. God is real. Atheism is dead. Change my mind.
Boom! And once again, he's not role playing. Everything he just said, definite fact.
You heard it here.
Well, Rebel, I know what we were just talking about. I was saying how, to me, it sounded like you were saying I was a Christian, and then I found out that the Bible, so I already believed the Bible's true.
No, not
well,
true.
Hold on, let me at least finish it. I know that you're going to say it's a straw man, but tell me where I'm going wrong in it once I finish it.
It's not a straw
It
man.
sounds like you were saying I was a Bible-believing Christian, and then I
Christian
found that
family,
the
went to
Bible
church.
says that the earth is flat. And because I believe the Bible, I now believe that the earth is flat. And so I now need to spread that the earth is flat and that Christianity is true.
No, here. Let me try to explain in a way that will explain
Break
to you
it down.
the nuances and what I was saying. Like, I was Christian in the sense that I was just born into a Christian family, that went to church and stuff like that.
You were a born Christian, not a born-again Christian.
Hold on, let me. Hey, exactly right. No, that you're right.
Oh, there you go.
That is the difference I was trying to say in a way.
We're
Yeah,
learning the
exactly.
lingo. She's
You
learning.
can say that. Yeah. So there's a lot of people like me that grew up in a Christian home, and they just went to church, because they were young and they had to listen to their parents anyway. Like, they weren't just going to stay home, right? So that was the thing to do. And then as they moved on, and started learning more about it or whatever, like, they still didn't even really believe in it. That's why you find a lot of hypocritical Christians that like say they're Christian but don't really do the things that the Bible says to do, because they're not really they're not true Christians.
Nobody does. Yeah, nobody does all the things the Bible says.
Well, it depends on what you're talking about, but yeah.
Well, let me actually take it away from. Let's make it more central. Is there something that you think could show you that the Bible is not true, or the inspired Word of God?
Yeah, we'd have to be a globe spinning in space.
I literally, and I tried not to say it, but I was like, let's take it away from the flat Earth for a second. Like, what would be? And so really. And see, this is what I mean, though, when I say it's not about science, or you could say it's always back to religion, because I say, what will change your religious view? And you say the globe, but that's a scientific accusation there, inquiry.
Okay, so I haven't. Let me think. To be honest, I haven't really thought about that question. So it is a legitimate good question. But if I had to just think off the top of my head right now, of course, flat Earth is like the strongest evidence, because that's what in the first place like made me like transition to believing the Bible. But besides that,
You transitioned.
I got excited for 1 second, but okay, we can go back to.
If I didn't see a group of people that fit the curses of Deuteronomy 28 about what the Israelites would go through.
Oh boy.
Oh my. We were just in Deuteronomy. You're going to make me want to pull that up. You said Deuteronomy 28 chapter?
Yeah, he came on for that Bible study, remember?
Yeah, because as you can see, my my little profile picture of my avatar right here, it's supposed to be depicting like Moses and Aaron like leading the Israelites through the wilderness. Okay, so I do believe they were a dark-skinned people, and so nowadays I believe the true descendants of the biblical Israelites, the
Oh,
children
I
of
see where this is
Israel,
going.
are the are the so-called African Americans, Black people, and Negroes of today. Okay.
I just and we just want to say to the TOS gods, for we do not sin, and we pressing all the incense out there.
I never use that small hat J word.
I know. Well,
you
it's just so
notice.
funny. I'm so used to talking with someone who
Deuteronomy plum.
dude. So is this it? Chapter 28?
Yeah.
I'll tell you, it was so good. It feels so good to put Deuteronomy on the shelf.
We finally did.
So yeah, we don't have to go to it. Like, if I can just like list off the other things.
But can I just ask? You're not a Mark of Cain believer, are you?
Considering I'm not really familiar with that term, probably no.
Oh, okay. The Mormons believe that black skin.
Oh my God!
Were, from the curse of Cain.
The Mormons are like just as heretical as the Roman Catholic Church, if not more.
Oh, I was gonna hope you were saying us, but okay, we'll take it.
No, don't lump the Mormons in with us. Lump them in with the Catholics. So there you go.
No, actually, according to God, according to him, in a way, he actually prefers atheist over what he considers to be a lukewarm Christian, which means like they're sort of taking the name of the Lord in vain. Like they profess to be Christian, but like they're not really walking out that faith.
Depart from me, ye who work iniquity. I never knew you. Yeah.
Well, yeah, James, but also I'm specifically talking about that verse in Revelation. That's where the Messiah is quoted in red, saying,
The Laodicean church, yeah, neither hot nor cold.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because you're lukewarm. Yeah, that's what I was referring to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and Titan, there's a lot more like me. Most of the camps are not hip to the flat Earth, but a lot of them are catching on for sure.
They're not talking about the flat Earth in those cafes with the coffee.
Yeah, I said camps, or I don't know if you misheard me.
Oh God! You know what? I just want to say, whenever we're talking about the Chu Moos and then we're talking about camps, I just get scared. So we are just going to continue forward.
Oh boy!
Talking with
that could be bad.
We have about 5 more minutes, Rebel. Let's. Do you have any more disagreements with us?
Anything
or things
to flat smack us with?
Well, just to finish my thought from earlier, like, and this is all just coming from right now. Like, if this historical figure that the world known as Jesus Christ, I like to use his more original
Killer
name,
Queen,
Yeshua HaMashiach, which means the Messiah.
Oh.
If this figure wasn't such a significant part of history to the point where our entire time scale is actually based off his birth and death, talking about BC AD, right? If that wasn't part of the thing and associated with the Bible, that would also diminish my faith in it. Another big one is like how the dreams and prophecies in the book of Daniel.
Sweet dreams? Oh no, I like how I feel like the silence. You're thinking I'm about to have an award-winning argument. I just had to say sweet dreams are made of these. Who am I to disagree?
The book of Daniel, Rebel?
Wait. Oh, Soros might be shutting him down. He may have been just red-pilling us too much.
With the book of Daniel.
Pat says, I repeatedly asked flat earthers why they don't go out and do the exploratory and confirmatory investigation themselves, and they never do. $500 weather balloon and a $500 camera system. I was going to say, now listen,
you buy the camera, Pat. You buy the weather balloon. There you go.
Now let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to say that, like, I'm not going to hate on nobody. GoPros are not cheap, okay? They are. This is literally one of the cheaper models at like a $400, almost $500 range. But still, I mean, if that's how much it's taken you to between that and showing the world that the Earth is flat and that Jesus can ride over dinosaurs, I might have added that one in there. But
did somebody do it with a cell phone camera? I thought.
You would think. But oh yeah, see, like I said, Rebel, I'm so sorry. Like I said, sometimes he's gotta shut some of our more spicy people down. But it was great to. Oh my God,
the satellites are there.
Almost
so
had
they're
the
not
fear of
work
God
for
in me. I had a kitty. But it was wonderful to have you on, even if Soros, our overlord, took you down. Also, who the real stream is being run by, ladies and gentlemen, the kids,
the scenes, yeah.
the real overlords. That's right. But yeah, James, I think this is gonna be.
I think this is it. Yeah. Penelope is thick. That's right, doorknob it.
I can't tell if that's
Which
actually
button?
Rebel with a change. Did you change it that fast? I can't tell if we're about to be trolled. Let's figure this out.
Yeah.
Rebel?
So it is official now. Soros officially.
Penelope. She's like, she's not looking. I'm gonna watch this, guys.
Oh, and she likes
this.
to. Her new thing is she tries to touch the screen. She wants to paw it because she sees the thing on the screen
cursor,
and
the
she
mouse
tries
going.
to go. Exactly.
Yeah, just FYI, I'm currently on my phone using data because my Wi-Fi somehow has
Wow.
been within the.
You know him from Star Trek? I earned my geek card tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Anyway,
Brett
Rebel, I do think that we are actually going to be wrapping up. So, if you would like,
that's
if
right,
you have
Titan.
a question for us, we'll try to answer it. But if you'd
Titan's
like,
got a
you are-
useful a tip here.
Just-
to talk to.
Oh my God!
Thanks, Titan.
Yo, and this is definitely very rare.
Not
And
McDonald's. Yeah.
usually when I'm going to sleep, even if it's, I'll leave like a little YouTube stream playing in the background. It kind of just helps me sleep.
No,
And
listen,
It's like
it never
the
goes out.
24-hour flat Earth stream that runs like 24/7.
I have to admit,
I used to do those, but a lot of music played, so
we normally give the list of names over when the podcast ends, because it's the only way that we get our shekels. Is that if we actually debunk all of the fun that we hear, but we actually still want to actually have you give a chance to say your last word, Rebel. It has been had a blast. We love it when our theist brothers and sisters join us.
Yeah, I knew you were hiding in there. You could feel you. Could almost smell you in there. Lurking inside.
But we do want to know, what are you, we've been skeptic. I'm saying skeptic.
Who's
We
calling us
have
here
been
at this
skeptic
station?
and ranting. We have
That's
been
what we
midnight
want.
ranting, but we want to know, on calling me skeptical, does a God exist?
Yes, he does, and just and this can be like a very simple answer from you guys, like a yes or no. Like, this would try to see like if even having this conversation would be worth it against between two people who have opposing different views, right? Like, would the gift, or whatever you want to call it, like with the gift of salvation, of eternal life, and the heavenly kingdom of God, where it's nothing but righteousness, peace, and joy, right? And just like the earth renewed to its original pristine Garden of Eden like nature, and living like that forever, and having like supernatural powers like angels where you can fly and stuff. Is that even kind of something you want to desire? Because if not, God existing doesn't really matter to you. Because if you're okay with dying and just like having it, then it doesn't really matter.
You'll get different answers from different atheists. I know atheists who will say, I really do wish a God was real. I would say, I'll give you my answer, but I would say that always and first and foremost, it's the truth. Do I want a God to exist? It would really depend on what the God is. If it's the God of the Bible, I do not want them to exist because I think they're evil. If they do exist, do I want to know that they exist? Yes. Like, I'm not trying to sit here saying that crush him. What's up, preacher? I would normally say come on, but we are wrapping up shop. we're in our 3 hour and change, which we are sticking to as much as we can.
You feed him John 8:34, preacher.
Oh, that's right. We have another Christian that may think you're not the real Christian, so who knows? Hey, preacher,
Go figure.
I gotta ask
Would you ever see one of those?
Because I want to be. We're trying to be as big
preacher,
as
a flat earther.
That's what I want to know, preacher. Are you a flat earther? Do you believe the world is wrong, preacher?
You know, the preacher is wrong about all, like, everything in his doctrine.
Oh, you know Perry. You know Perry.
Except,
of course, everybody knows his heretical doctrine. Yeah, he's
the
epitome of the online. But literally everything the Perry preaches is absolutely wrong and very dangerous to one station of the
except.
Oh, but come on, preacher! Come on, round or flat? Come on, you're not going to throw your hat.
But he is right about his belief in a flat Earth, so I'll give him that much. But that's pretty much the only thing.
Oh, he is a flat earther?
Yes, he is, and that's the only thing he's right about.
Ooh,
wow,
interesting.
But too bad flat Earth won't
save. I gave Perry credit. I didn't.
But can I just tell you, we get flack all the fucking time because we connect flat Earth with like Christianity and sometimes just theism in and of itself. And the other Christians just are like, yeah, okay, tip your fedora hat even more.
He is a flat
There
earther.
we go, ladies and gentlemen. Wow.
Come on.
We still love you, preacher.
I had more faith in you than that. But I had more faith in you than that, preacher. Oh, you're breaking my heart. I thought we could at least agree on one thing. One freaking thing, Perry. Come on.
Kent Hovind, who definitely believes that gravity exists. It's the one thing that we have in common. He knows when things hit the floor. But yes, anything else? Perry. Rebel, I'm
NASA
sure.
Flight manuals. Oh my God. Okay.
Oh, that's one of our sponsors. Rebel, just basically a final sentence. It was lovely having you on. Any last sentence?
I'm not sure if you actually answered my question, but that's okay.
What was your question? Well, now I can't help it. What was the question? Did we want to know? I feel like I gave my answer. Maybe James. Oh, we got Jesse Lee
Peterson out there.
Human, a devil possessed. Repent, and your life will become amazing.
Stop being betas.
But yes, my answer is: I'll even, like I said, very specifically, because you only believe that the God of the Bible exists. Do I want the God of the Bible exists? No. Do I want to know if the God of the Bible exists? Yes.
Okay, but more specifically, and I can see how it can be tied to what you said, but I asked, like, does the gift of salvation that Christians have the hope for as like the main purpose of their faith to begin with, which is living forever, having eternal life in the heavenly kingdom of God here on earth, does that at all sound appealing to you, like as if it's something you'd want to do, or are you okay with just dying and forgetting that you ever existed in the first place?
So I'm perfectly fine with just dying. Like I said, it would have to be a version of an afterlife that would be palatable. Once again, if it's true, then that doesn't even matter. I just want to know the truth. But I mean, can you convince me of an afterlife that's worth selling, that's better than a timeshare? Maybe. But
I'm asking you, like, just imagine your best vacation, or whatever kind of what do they call it, something Taria, I don't know, whatever, like just the most amazing, whatever, like the wildest of your imaginations of what you would consider to be beautiful and not boring.
My problem is just what forever. I always have I would want to live thousands of years, maybe. And that's even a lot. Most people would say they don't even want to live thousands of years. I don't know if I'd want to live forever, but I mean, there are versions of an afterlife I'm sure you can make palatable. My big problem with them is not whether I like them or not, because to me it's a scientific question, and whether something is good or not has literally no value in it one way.
Don't call him out, preacher, by name. That's Jesse Lee Peters. That's the real Jesse Lee Peterson.
Is it really?
But yes,
no, it would
no.
have a little check mark
Well,
or something.
No. He there's no way Jesse could be out there in the internet, because Jesse's down there between my desk and between my thighs. What are we talking about?
It's all nothing. I think you
James, did you have a different answer than it sounds like? So not just God, but really it sounds like the afterlife of maybe the Christian or of our best variety, either one.
Well, I mean, like we've said before. Good night, Dave Dar. Just, I would want to know if the God of the Bible was true. Would it be a good thing if he was? I mean, that would depend. I mean, there's a lot of things he would have to answer for. You say, hey, how can you make God answer to you? Well, I just did. There's a lot of things he would have to answer for. And if he was able to convince me from a logical standpoint that all the things he did that look horrible really were good and just, and that he did have a good reason for it, then, I mean, I guess I would consider that. But that's a big if. That's a lot to unpack there.
Also, you can't say we are a people pleaser. I'm going to ask it just because you are a valued member of our audience. But this goes into the preacher's diet. He has a sinning diet program, so he wants to know if you can sign you up. But he wants to know if you sin.
On occasion, yes, I do.
Oh, and there we go, ladies and gentlemen. The gauntlet. That's pure. Yeah, that's his shtick. How can you call yourself a Christian if you sin? It says in insert passage that a Christian can't sin.
Everything is reconciled. Come on, Rebel. You should know better.
Between my knees. What?
Yeah.
I keep on saying it. Rebel, we'll let you, but this really is. This is your last.
Peterson calling him out.
Your last sentence.
Perry's a beta.
Yeah,
no, nothing really to say except I just finished celebrating what's known as the Feast of Sukkot, or is Hebrew for the Feast of Tabernacles. Today was the last 8th great day, and it's the last of the 7 biblical feasts.
Cheat anything good?
Annually throughout the year. Yeah, I ate some like Ethiopian dish it's an Ethiopian dish called tibs. It's like used beef and with onions, tomatoes, and jalapeno peppers. And you do it. Have you guys went to the Ethiopian restaurant before? It's like a pretty common dish they serve there.
No.
But you eat it with like the special Ethiopian bread. It's called injera. It's made out of like a unique kind of grain called teff.
Sounds good.
It's pretty good. Yeah. What I want to say.
Okay, I'll say.
I know.
That might be one thing.
Just one last thing.
I know.
The reason why I brought that up is because in the Bible it makes a prophecy that this Feast of Tabernacles will be one of the holidays or holy days. Sorry, that will be required for all the nations of the earth to come up to the New Jerusalem and worship the King, who will be Yeshua during that time. So. For all these Christians that still celebrate Easter and Christmas and all those, Thanksgiving, Halloween, there's going to be none of that in the kingdom of God. So
none of that shit, right?
With that, we're going to go out on a note that we actually agree with. Exactly. And so it was lovely having you on, Rebel. Keep on coming on into the den of kittens, as Friendly Ex-Muslim says. And so... thank you so very much for being here. We're closing up shop. The after show will be open to everybody on Discord. I'll send that link.
Just to be Peterson praising Mark Reid. You never thought I'd see that happening.
Oh my! Well, I've only seen Jesse have a single good conversation with someone. Actually, I've had he got trolled once with I really should know who his name is, but he's had an actual good conversation with. T-Jump, Really did seem like T-Jump was
That
getting
was a
through to
productive
him.
conversation. Yeah, that was
It's the only one I've ever seen.
Yeah, he has doorknob. He's yeah.
And yeah.
Hitting
Also
that catnip
sending
hard
love out
today, huh?
there to all of our Twitch stream that is growing, sending so much
do we
love
all.
out there, followers. I want to thank Rubik's one more time
Thanks
for
so much,
becoming a
Rubik's.
member. We have just been growing our members on, and there are badges and a whole bunch of, also not only badges, but badges with flair. Get flair on in Twitch, but we have our badge system out
Amy
here.
has 37 pieces of flair on.
That's right, just the right amount. And you can become a member by hitting that join button and get our evolving badges system. I also want to send love to a specific stream, a channel that we need to grow. I saw Titan shout him out, and now I need to send a shout out.
Save that
because
for the
our
after show,
one, that's right, our one and only grumpy old Cuss has a channel, and he only's got 50 subscribers.
Really?
Grumpy? And so what we need to do is get him that 100 subscriber, which I know you all out there. I feel like I should make a tiny URL while we're doing that. Give me a second, and I will. Boom. All right. Give me a second. I'm sending it in there. Tiny URL / grumpy old Cuss. That's GRUMPYOLECUSS. We need to get him that
FUCUS.
100. Yeah, that's right. FUCUS. But we need to get support more non-believers out there. You never know which channel is going to become the next slam dunk. I am honored to say that we got, that's right, 33 likes, Illuminati confirmed. That AJ had one of his first streams on here, and he is really taken off, and he gives it to it better than Matt Powell when they're snuggling to Kent Hovind. And Peter is out there working his freaking magic for all those non-believers. Ding! And so we just want to keep on supporting everybody. I saw a question in... I thought, what was the Discord link? I'm sending that. Not only will I send... I'll send the Discord link back in there. Oh, my. But... posted in the link of every description of every video is the Discord link if anyone ever wants it again. It's a forever link. Doesn't expire. How many licks does it take to get to the center of an Amy Newman Tootsie Pop? 1, 2. Alrighty then, enough of that. Sending so much love, James. I think that was the only thing I wanted to bring up. We talked about how I'm just getting the GoPro footage off. Our Patreon channel members will see a good rough cut.
The show coming up probably next week sometime with Cindy Lincoln coming back with a specially selected panel that she wants of people that she wants to talk to. So we're in communication with them.
We just want good vibes on that podcast. Good vibes.
I mean, she's a very special person, a very sincere person, and we just want to welcome her. And she's a young Earth creationist who's willing to engage with our arguments and answer questions, and that's pretty rare. And she is definitely sincere in her beliefs. A lot of these guys I don't think are, but I really do think she is sincere. Even as much as I disagree with her and think she doesn't have good reasons, but she thinks that she does. And yeah.
Well, I've also seen her adjust her. I've never seen a creationist say I used to do this, and then she's like, someone did a takedown video of me or something. I watched it and I saw, and she's like, I don't say that anymore because I think they're right. So I've never seen a creationist actually. Maybe I'm just biased. Like, we take in new information all the time. Maybe. What are you talking about? Okay. Well, but I we're sending love. We
Plenty of
saw
Perry
the
to go
Preacher
around.
and Pure Aussie Gold and Peter and Freak and Mark Reid and everyone still hanging around with us.
You might have Amy fighting your wife, Perry, to get a little piece of that.
No. We just always go to threesomes. It's the go-to.
Perry. Oh, okay. All right.
Ding, ding. That's right. I think, James, with that, I think that we all hope you enjoyed this episode
fun, guys. A lot of
Call Us Skeptical. Does God exist? Where tonight we opened up the internet phone lines to see if anyone can help us understand why does a God exist? Or why would one? Because I still don't think we're convinced. James, are you convinced?
No, unfortunately, no.
Damn it.
Didn't quite get there, but maybe next time.
Maybe next time. However, I do want to thank my co-host, James W., along with Good Night the Freak, along with all of our tonight's panel guests, P-Town, Taylor, Bitter, Rubik, and Rebel. Woo! Thank you all, along with all the lovely people in chat, our awesome mods who make this stream so great, and of course, fantastic viewers like you who make this channel even possible. If you enjoy the show, please don't forget to like, follow, or subscribe, because then you gain access to that bell icon, which when set to all will send you premieres, reminders to your premieres, like our new Street Epistemology show or our live streams like this one. Woohoo! Thank you so very much. That's right, the Freak sending $2 super chat of a great
definitely appreciate it.
Broadcast and podcast. Yes, we are sending that love so much right back. We cannot do it without you.
With that
guys and gals.
Slip that dollar in Amy's bra.
But yes, thank you so very much. And also a whole bunch of more things. We're probably going to be doing more debates. Debate Me Bras. It looks like I am probably going to be doing, as well as dragging James into them, some possible just off the cup, just Discord debates. Probably won't be video or anything like because I want to do them a little bit more spontaneous. But yeah. Ding, 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 ding. Thank you so very much to Freak, really, with all your generosity and support. And yeah, you can also set that bell icon, join our live stream, or hey, why not leave a comment once the video's done? Hey, after the show, we'll be heading over to the Skeptic and Ranting Discord server, the link of which is in the description below and sent out there. Lastly, you can find our channel members in said description, along with our Patreon at patreon.com/Amy Newman, which is the best way to help us make even more fun content. I am Amy Newman, and that's Gizmo, and we will see you all on the next episode of Skeptic Ball Z. Good night, everyone.
Good night, guys.
Mwah.